Oh yeah.
Myron, your
Charlie.
turn. What comic book character or comic book would you like to talk about, even if it's not DC or Marvel? Because, but yeah, what
So,
comic book character would you like to talk about and the live adaptation of it?
so when Kitty was talking about Harley Quinn, I really just started thinking about Transformers. Is that's exactly how I feel about Transformers. I'm
Oh, it
a
was a comic book first, right?
yeah, yeah.
It,
At the same
It
time
was a
that
toy cartoon first.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time that the cartoon was happening, they were actually in Marvel. GI Joe
Yeah.
and Transformers were actually Marvel comics.
right.
So I, you know, early '80s baby. So I grew up watching the cartoon, having the toys, and all of that. So all of a sudden, the movie comes out. Now this is after. Now Transformers was my first fandom, and then X-Men surpassed it, but Transformers comes out after X-Men. So I jokingly say that the only thing that the first three X-Men movies were good for was preparing me for Transformers. I knew
Oh no.
I knew going into Transformers. I look, Myron, look, go into this movie, take your fanboy off, leave it at the door, go enjoy this movie, which I did. But that did not stop me from nitpicking all the things I felt was messed
Michael
up about
Bay
it.
just
Oh,
always explosions.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
You know,
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
Myron, that intro though, at least it was really that hope was still up there. You know, first there was
here
the
is
cube, and then
Yeah.
here
No,
are the
no, no,
dates.
no. That pissed me off because I'm like, of all the Transformers lore that I already knew, I had never heard anything about this cube.
yeah. No, I'm just talking about
So-
hearing Cullen's voice.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Peter
And that's what I'm
Cullen's-
saying, because just
Yes,
like,
I
okay,
get you.
I don't care about the story, but it's
Well,
Cullen. I'm
Yeah.
hopeful. I'm
I'm
hopeful
glad they
because I'm
Is
brought
that
right there
how
with
the
you.
story starts? Is with a cube?
Yeah,
In the movie.
in the movie.
Yeah.
In the
Oh,
movie.
okay.
Yeah,
The best thing
that is the first mention of the cube in all of Transformers lore, from
I don't remember that movie.
dating back to the early '80s. There is no cube at all.
Hearing Peter Cullen's voice,
Yeah.
he did it for the animated show back in the 80s. Then in the early 2000s on Toonami, he did it again for Optimus Prime, and then the live action movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just saying I totally understand you, Myron, because you know, like I said, same deal. Having the toys, you know, I had the Megatron that used to be the pistol and all that,
Yeah.
and then the '80s animated movie was fantastic. And then when this one was coming out, I was like, okay, I'm optimistically hopeful. First couple minutes, you know, we get that whole thing from Cullen. You know, first there was the cube that brought life to our planet and all that. And I was like, okay, awesome. And then Shia LaBeouf comes on screen. It's
You know,
like, oh.
And I'm not even mad at
Oh.
most of the changes. Like most of the changes I understood. Like I was not mad at Bumblebee being a Chevy Camaro. Now
Well,
I would be proven wrong on this, but I thought, okay, nobody's gonna take a Volkswagen Beetle seriously. Again, his solo movie proved me wrong
Yeah.
many years later. But I was like, okay, there nobody for him having the role that he had in the movie, nobody would have taken a Volkswagen Beetle seriously. So I'm okay with him being a Chevy Camaro.
Yeah.
I'm okay with Optimus Prime being a whatever they call those trucks now versus the cab over engine one where it was just the flat front of it. I was
Yeah.
okay with Ironhide being a big ass black truck as opposed to a red minivan. You're not going to take a red minivan seriously, right? I was
No.
okay with Starscream being a F-22 as opposed to an F-15 because F-15s are obsolete. I'm cool with all of that. What pissed me off was these little itty bitty things that they could have gotten right, but they didn't. Like we got a whole generation of kids that think that Bumblebee shouldn't talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that just started being a thing, and now people are going to look at old Bumblebee like he's not supposed to talk. Like,
Well, if you watch
Like,
if you watch the Bumblebee movie, he does talk,
Yeah,
and it explains
right,
how
right.
he. It
Oh,
explains
but
why he
that
doesn't
was
talk
like
anymore.
Myra just said, that was years later and the damage had already been done.
Thanks a lot,
Yeah.
Michael Bay.
Well,
Yeah.
it's being
So-
fixed a little bit now
Yep.
with the cartoon series on Paramount Plus
Oh yeah.
too,
Yeah.
because Bumblebee is one of the lead characters there.
And speaking
Yeah.
of the comics, published by Marvel Comics from 84 to 91, and then
Yeah.
Dreamwave took over
Dreamwave was great till it went under.
from 2002 to 2004, and then from
The
2005,
IDW.
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say
IDW.
IDW got it.
Yeah, and what was I going to say? Kind of like what Kit was saying. Like I've learned to be like, okay, these are my Transformers. I'm not going to shit on the new stuff
And
because
here
there's
is
so many.
here's the cover to Transformers.
There
Have
you
to
I
go.
love- I
associate
love-
yourself
I-
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
'Cause there-
the cover.
Because there's so
Fact.
many new people that are into the fandom because of the new stuff. And so I've grown to appreciate that. I've grown to respect that. I ain't gonna ever watch it, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to call you a fake fan if
Right.
if Camaro Bumblebee, if Camaro not speaking Bumblebee is your favorite Transformer.
That's how I was.
Gonna,
That's how I was
I'm not-
introduced to
yeah.
Bumblebee.
Yeah, so
But you know
I'm,
what though, Myron, it does give you the opportunity, like Bob and I being older than all of you is probably put together, to be like, come here, young ones, let me show you what this used to be like. Back in
Yeah,
our
yeah.
day, this is the
Back in
origin.
my
Oh,
back in my
dude,
day.
Yeah,
you just
but
gave
you
me
know,
a-
you can actually say, oh, if you like this, let me show you how it all began. You do have that opportunity, and you can actually
yeah.
tell them, it's like, this is what it is for you, which is one of the reasons why the Turtles, like we had talked about before,
Yeah,
still
yeah.
work, because they reinvent themselves for every
I'm
generation.
looking forward to the new.
Yeah.
Because I can still love my Turtles, you can love yours, Sam has
Exactly.
hers, and nobody's pissed at each other.
Oh,
That's
no.
genius. But
Brian,
Side
they-
note-
you gave me a
it's
really
alterations.
bad flashback
Good-
just now. Y'all ever sorry, y'all ever there's this YouTube channel called Kids React. Y'all ever seen that?
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Oh, not in a while, but yeah.
So there's
I-
a Transformers episode. And so you got kids, comparing the what's in the movies to the old. They're like, they look nothing alike. I'm like, yeah, I agree. What pissed me-
Which brings me to
what pissed me all the way off, and yes, y'all, I understand that I'm letting a 10-year-old get under my skin. Y'all gonna have to let me have this. So this little kid, they show a picture of the original Optimus Prime and the movie Optimus Prime. This little whippers, he says he would never have a gun. I'm telling you right now, he would never have a gun. He is showing you the original, and you're saying he would never have a gun. Go sit
that's just
down
like
somewhere.
that's just like the
Yeah.
old. Well, Batman never kills. I have comics from the 30s that prove otherwise.
Yeah.
Oh, the original
But-
Optimus, man, I mean, that gun that even his toy came with, it was like a freaking
Right.
huge
Yeah.
rifle, and then he
Oh,
had this,
really?
and then
could
he had the
turn-
shoulder
I
mount
mean,
one.
hell,
Yeah,
you could turn
Exactly.
the original.
And
You could
for-
turn the original
yeah.
Megatron into a pistol.
Exactly. And for him to
Well,
say, "Oh, he would never have a gun," we are showing you the original, son.
yeah, they
Now,
fought left and right.
I got a little revenge because I saw another episode of it, and it was these kids are playing the original Contra on the NES. None of them got past the first level,
Ah,
and that's with all their lives and all their continues. So all of them had 9 chances to get past the first stage and died. And I was like,
yeah, I'll do that one with my eyes closed, right?
Right.
Speaking of Myron, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Beast Wars live action movie?
I am going to go see it. I'm not super excited about it. I do love now. I grew up with the original. Beast Wars is where after Beast Wars is where I cut off of like, okay, after Beast Wars, when from Beast Machines on, I'm like, I could care.
Was there
less about it.
was there also a comic based on Beast Wars?
No, well, there's a new comic. There's new comics based off of Beast Wars, but Beast Wars was not based on any comics.
No, it's just a really crappy
Yeah.
CGI attempt.
Would you
Yeah.
like to, would you like to see more Beast War comics then?
I wouldn't mind it. I think there are some Beast Wars characters that got integrated into the IDW comics. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. All the Beast Wars characters look amazing.
Plus Peter Cullen is coming back to voice Optimus Prime
Yes,
for like the
yes.
100th fucking time.
Optimus
Side note-
Primal.
What now?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
Side
Right,
note,
right.
Peter
Oh, no,
Cullen's-
Kitty, who said if it's broke, don't fix it?
I did.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I
Right.
have to agree with Kitty. If it's broke, don't.
Yeah. Now the one thing that I
sidebar.
am. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say Peter Cullen's second most famous role is Eeyore.
Really?
Oh,
Right.
Tim.
Really?
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
right.
knew
He
that.
voiced- yeah, that's right.
I
He
knew
voiced,
that and
he
forgot
voiced,
about it.
he voiced Eeyore in the 70s.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that's Peter. Yeah, I remember seeing a interview about Peter Collins and how he came up with the voice for Optimus Prime because his question he gets asked all the time. And like, if I can sound like that when I'm that age, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Now
First-
the one thing I'm seeing from that Beast Wars, from the trailer. Now I thought I'd move past this. I thought I'd matured, but then I realized that scar was just a scab, and that scab got pulled off. So there's a character named Mirage in the new movie,
Mhm.
Now his name is Mirage. His alt mode is a Porsche with like a silver whitish looking Porsche with a big blue stripe down the middle. That's Jazz from G1, the character who died in the first Michael Bay movie.
Jazz.
Yeah.
Oh, the one who
Got
got,
the
got
rip
ripped
apart.
apart
Yeah.
by
Yeah,
Megatron.
that's
Got ripped apart
Jazz.
by Megatron, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
The car that Mirage is, that was Jazz's body. So I'm just like, and it's perfect. Like it looks exactly how the fuck it's supposed to look, but it belongs to a different character, which is the stuff that really gets under my skin about the series. Like you get somebody who's just that character in name, but nothing else. So that
again, like Echo, from Gotham, or CW's sad attempt at their version of Harley. I mean, not CW's, but Smallville's sad attempt at Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, so my fiance actually kind of got me into Transformers, and his first like ever movie he went and saw in a theater was the first Michael Bay Transformers. So he's like kind of grown up on that. So anyways, we go and we're like, oh cool, the Beast Wars trailer came out, and we're watching it. And my fiance goes, "Oh my gosh, is that Jazz?" And then we saw it like it cloned itself, and he was like, "Wait, no, is that like Mirage?" Like he was confused.
You know what's even more confusing is the powers that he used in that trailer. Those belong to another Transformer, Hound. He's a green Jeep, which Hound was actually in one of the other movies, but again, name swap because he was based off a character named Bulkhead.
I don't know what's wrong with it.
All these, give your fiance a hug for me because I'm with him. I'm so with him in that reaction. So yes.
Brian, what comic book or comic book characters would you like to talk about and their live adaptations?
Well, I'm kind of torn between two. One for a personal reason, and that's the Crow.
Oh yeah.
And that's actually who
great.
my son's named after.
When
not
did
Eric
the
Draven,
Crow
but-
when did the Crow comic book came out?
Oh, that was like late 80s, early 90s after James' fiance died. But my son's name is Brandon after Brandon Lee. I was in the martial arts for years, and was friends with friends of the family.
I can
And
now
when
see you.
Brandon
I
died-
can now see you. I can now see you cosplay as the Crow.
I never did, out of respect for Brandon.
Oh no, I
But,
totally understand it.
Yeah, so my son that's currently playing Hogwarts, his name is Brandon after Brandon Lee, and his middle name is Connor after Connor McLeod of the Clan McLeod, the Highlander.
Nice,
Yeah, oh yeah.
That
Came
could be
out,
only one.
First
Yes.
first appearance. Caliber Presents #1, January 1989.
Yeah.
And here
So
is
glad
another picture.
Yep.
No face paint or anything. It's just the lipstick and the eye thing.
Yeah, that was all the concept art stuff.
And I
So
love
I
love
had the
that
original
look.
stand-ups and stuff. Yeah, see there it is right there.
Oh
No way.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
pretty.
Yeah. But if any of you have ever read this, you'll understand that it's not just a comic. It's actually a message. There's a lot of personal growth. There's a lot of acceptance. There's everything you could ever need as a therapy
Yeah.
is in there because it's very dialogue heavy, even though it is beautiful visually.
Yeah.
And the other one for the same reason that it was torn was The Watchmen.
Watching's so good.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Good,
and
good.
none of the other media does the comics justice, in my
Yeah.
opinion. None of it.
No,
Oh.
so the first Crow movie was about as close as you could get. Look, feel, all that. Unfortunately, the tragedy happened and we lost Brandon. But
And we got
it's
those
one of
other
those
sequels.
that even when I was trying to help teach art as a comics as art and for I was a teacher's aide, and then I also did it after I graduated, went back to high schools and stuff and was teaching, because I was an artist. Both of those actually kind of show very strongly that comics are a legitimate art form in
Yeah.
multiple medias. And then when you got performances like you did from Brandon, and despite whatever people's opinions might be for the Watchmen, the message was there. There was a lot of allegory. There was a lot of political message, a lot of personal stuff. But I would
Especially
probably
in Watchmen.
yeah, I would probably still go with the Crow, because I don't care who you are. If you read it, it's going to talk to you. And then you see the performance of
Better.
Brandon in the movie, and it'll do the same thing for the same reasons. Two different visual mediums once again, but the soundtrack, the lighting, the look, the
Oh.
feel, Yeah. So see,
I remember watching The Crow when it came out on Netflix, and I've never seen it until then. I remember hearing stuff about it, and it wasn't until like after I looked up the movie because I didn't know anything about Brandon Lee. Like I heard about the actor, but like after I watched the movie, it's like, oh, Brandon, what other roles he been in? I looked on Wikipedia, and it's like, oh,
yeah. Well, there was a few, Rapid Fire, Big Showdown, Little Tokyo, things like that. But considering where that story came from and what James had used it for, how he presented it, and then what they turned it into, and then the tragedy that was associated with it. Just like I said, it has a little bit of personal ring, and it's one of the few, minus a couple animated adaptations, and then maybe Sin City as a live action.
Wait, there was an animated adaptation of The Crow?
Well, no, I was gonna say it's one of the very few adaptations of any comic,
I was gonna say,
minus
like,
a couple animated exceptions like the Max and maybe Spawn. And then Sin City live action, to where it's a 1-to-1. You get the feel, you get the look, you get the sense of the message all the way across the board.
What was James's opinion on the Crow movie when he found out his movie was
I
going to be?
loved it.
He approved of it.
Oh, James O'Barr, yeah. The sequels Onward, not so much. Nobody did, but he went back into...
City of Angels was okay, but the third and fourth one were like,
yeah, they got progressively worse.
They got like, I feel like City of Angels was the true sequel. But the third and fourth one were.
I didn't realize there was a third and fourth one.
Yeah, and there was a TV series and stuff. It got bad
and then there
quick.
there was a while where there was a rumor going around how Jason Momoa was going to be the next Crow.
It was that close to being a thing.
What?
It almost happened.
I can't see Jason Momoa as
That doesn't
as
look right in
Crow.
my
I can see. I can see.
Yeah,
okay.
I can see Jason Momoa more as Lobo, the bounty hunter.
Well,
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
That should be a thing. That should have happened
it
years ago.
should.
I mean, look at Jason Momoa is a biker. He's a he's like
Yeah.
he fits the
He
role.
loves Lobo too.
Yeah,
He
And I remember,
does.
and
It does need to
I
happen.
remember Jason Momoa was more on board with Lobo than the Crow.
Well, see, the thing with the Crow though, what had happened was when they went back into making a series out of it in the comics, it was shown that the mythology, like the Crow transferring souls and helping people get vengeance, goes back to prehistoric times, so to say, and then it happened during the Civil War, and there was during the Renaissance and all that. So different people, there was a Viking Crow and stuff like that. It just, if you were killed or something bad had happened to you and you had business to take care of, it would help you out. And the makeup changed depending on the time.
Wait, there was a Crow TV show? I'm looking.
No,
at
I'm talking about the comic series.
Oh, I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
and yes, there was a really bad Crow TV series that didn't last very long. But I'm just saying, so Momoa playing the Crow would have been fine because it could have been a Viking one or during the Rapa Nui or something like that.
Oh, that makeup is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it changes.
Wait, I know that actor.
Who you talking about? The one with
That's-
Edward Furlong?
That's Mark Dacascos.
Yeah, Mark Dacascos. Yeah. Mhm.
Who's
He
that?
was that
he
only
was-
the
he-
strong. He was that fake Iron the Kookaroo chef guy after that.
He
Japanese,
was
the
he was
American
he
Idol.
was
Wait.
he
Iron
was
Chef?
the ho-
Oh.
yeah.
Only the
Mark-
strong? Do you mean like the Capoeira movie?
Yeah, Mark Dacascos.
Dude.
Yeah. Yeah,
He was
I-
also the- he was
There's
also the-
something wrong with my brain, Myron. I
All right,
remember
so
all
thi-
kinds of
this
shit
is-
I
this
shouldn't.
is Mark's.
But,
This is Mark's. This is Mark's makeup look from the Crow TV show.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
there he is.
It tries and guess who he plays as? He plays as Eric Draven.
Brian,
They
real
basically
quick-
the movie was adapted into a TV show.
I don't like that.
No,
Real quick, I went to see Only the Strong in the theaters, and me and my friend, we were the only two people in the theater.
I'm not surprised.
And even though I have kind of abandoned Eddie Gordo, Only the Strong is the reason I'm a Tekken fan.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah, Eddie and his sister later on and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, they tried to serialize it in different ways with the series. Wayne, it just never quite got.
Oh no, they did
Where
that.
it needed to.
They did the same thing with Carrie. There was a straight to movie Carrie movie that was going to span into a series.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because of the message unfortunately got lost and everything. But if something got popular, they're gonna cash grab it, and it's
Yeah.
like with anything else. But like I said, if you take the first iteration of the comics, you take the first iteration of the live action, It's wonderful. It's fantastic. It works. Even with my issues with the movie making changes, like with Myron, back then it's like, how dare you, disappointed. But when you go back and you look at it, it's like, okay, they had to do this because, well, shit, he died. They had to do this because we need to appeal to people that aren't going to be, emo goth basement dwellers that might not really
No.
understand the look. Well, I mean, because
Yeah.
appearances were very deceiving, because he's kind of a leather daddy, he binds him, he's into bondage and stuff and everything. So
The emo kids in the basement.
yeah,
Wait,
And
what?
I loved Eric Draven's
that's-
look.
but that's the thing. It wasn't necessarily strictly to appeal to those people, but visually they might be that way. So the movie had to
Can't
kind of
read all the
change the
time.
feel.
Yeah, correct me
then-
if I'm wrong. It seems like The Crow is like a very like niche, almost like cult following, right?
That's the way it started
Yeah.
with the comics, and then it wasn't until that ball got rolling that they're like, hey, there's money in those movies, and then they brought the movie out, and then
the 90s
it still kind of
were
kept
like,
cult status.
The 90s were peak comic book movies,
Yeah,
which we'll be discussing here. Bob, what comic book character or comic books would you like to talk about and their live adaptations?
Well, I was debating this for a bit. And basically came down to my two favorite comic book characters, who I've mentioned before. One is Nocturne, whom we have yet to see in live action.
Ooh, that's right. Isn't Nocturne? Did you say Nocturne was Kurt Wagner's daughter?
Yes, in an alternate universe, alternate universe daughter of Kurt Wagner and Wanda Maximoff.
Wow.
What?
Yeah,
I knew he was Nightcrawler. I mean, I knew she was Nightcrawler's daughter, but I didn't realize she was. That makes all the sense in the world
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
and here is Nocturne from one of the more modern comics.
Oh wow, she's very blue.
She looks pretty too.
yeah,
Well, it's Nightcrawler's
she
baby.
is.
yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, that's I would love to see that character cosplayed.
Here
sometime.
is another
I'm-
here's another version of Nocturne.
Ooh, yes.
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
think
Lovely.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple different people do her in cosplay before. Those are always
Yeah.
really cool to see.
I wouldn't doubt, especially with you living in the SAC area and SAC Comic Con and SAC Anime. I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
love that
anyway.
version of her.
But she's never been done in live action legitimately. I'm looking forward to it. It's the out of all the X-Men related characters, she's
First
like the third on my
appearance.
list I really want to see.
So
awesome.
her
So-
comic book. Sorry, Bob.
I'm going to go over to my other favorite character who has been done a few times, and that is the Flash. And if you want to go with the very first one, you have to go to, there was a TV special on in the 70s called let me double check that. I don't know this other monitor.
I got my phone ready to look.
Legends of the Superheroes. And the actor's name was Rod Haas. And I put the picture up now of what he looks like.
Oh.
Mhm.
That one right there.
That is the special. Yeah, you can see him over there.
So I
You
take
can barely
that
see him,
back.
but I
I
put
take that back. I lied when I was talking to Sam and Bryant. Huntress
lied?
And Huntress and Black Canary apparently made a first
You
live action
lied
appearance
to
back then.
me.
Is
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
a lot of
a lot of
DC characters made their first live action in that special.
1970.
Which, by the way,
Oh,
if
I
you-
didn't know that.
Neither
yeah,
did I.
if you
Green
want to watch
Lantern?
that, if you want to watch that special,
Solomon Grundy,
yeah,
Born on a Monday.
christened on a Tuesday.
yeah, and Burt Ward and Adam West came back as Batman and Robin,
Nice.
irrespectively. If you want to watch that special, I
Oh,
urge you to change your
God.
mind.
Here, okay.
Oh,
Here's
okay.
a closer look at Black Canary and Huntress's outfits.
Oh,
Wow.
that mask.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those masks.
That mask is so loud. I feel,
Is that person in the middle photobombing?
That
no,
is
That's what it looks
awful.
like, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What you up to, ladies?
That-
Yeah,
okay, I'm not gonna
look
lie.
at that.
and I know this is gonna sound cheesy, but Huntress's mask is so loud. I feel like I need earmuffs for that.
That is bad.
Wow.
Yeah,
Hey Bob,
you
why
take
do
a
you,
look at Rod's costume as the Flash, and it is, just like most of the rest of those costumes, it's bad even by that day's standards.
All right, I'm
Wayne,
actually.
you were commenting earlier that Captain Marvel's lightning bolt looks like a snake.
Oh,
I think this one
there's the Flash from 1979.
Wow.
is right at there. I think that's the same actor. No, it's not the same actor who played Captain Marvel, but
That is so derpy.
take a look at the picture in chat.
Okay.
That's
But-
it's a
God.
little bit better chat. I'll put that up there.
I'm also showing a closer version, but look at
that's so
look at Hawkman's costume.
Wow.
Why does he
man.
look like the
That
wolf?
one was the worst on the show. I watched that.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
He's
just
he looks like a
with-
chicken.
with like rubber wings on his back? Well, they were over the
Alright,
top at the time. They were really campy and stuff.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
I was gonna ask,
These are hilarious.
I will say Solomon Grundy's look looks almost identical when he was in the Justice Friends animated show.
well,
Who's the guy who looks like
based off those
who's the
versions
guy
of
who
the
looks
comics.
like who's the guy who looks like a cheap knockoff of Thor? I don't know who that
Uh,
is.
We could talk about that special. We could all watch the special, talk about it, and spend
God.
longer thinking about it.
It's
That
Just
looks
torture our
the show
souls.
itself.
little.
I would
Analysis.
love to be part of that.
That looks, I've never heard of Legends of the Superheroes, but the one that's getting me laughing, honestly, is Hawkman's just
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's a bit
Yeah,
much.
this
with the
is-
fake white eyes. I do
This is
like.
the-
I will say I do like Green. I do like Chapter 12 Legends of this. I do like Green Arrow's look. It does look somewhat similar to his comic book.
Discuss that some other time. But yeah, that is a really horrible costume. But then you can go advance forward to get John Wesley Shipp, who's did the Flash at the height of the muscle suit.
Oh, in the 90s.
Yeah.
Not
In the
90,
90s, yeah.
90, it was short. It was a few months or a year before the Batman the Animated Series, because Danny Elfman did the intro to the Flash series.
Mhm.
Yeah, this was but John looked pretty okay. I thought it looked like it was a little thick in terms
Oh
of
yeah.
in terms of what was on it, around the mask and around it. But that was probably due to it being a muscle suit, because since it's like
Yeah.
I said, it was the height of the muscle suit era for
In the
superhero
90s.
costumes.
I remember when that first premiered. I watched every episode of that live.
I watched every episode of that as well,
Yeah.
and
1990.
They're
So here,
that would put me
cheesy,
in the-
though.
so here is John's outfit from the 1990 Flash TV show.
It's not
Yeah,
terrible.
that's-
Wow.
that's
Not
pretty
bad,
much-
not
yeah.
bad.
A lot of red.
other than being it looked
It
looked
was
okay.
also Mark Hamill's very first comic book appearance as a villain before the Joker.
And he was the only
Ooh.
one. He was the only villain on that show to replicate the comic book costume.
The Trickster.
Everybody else was everybody else was in kind of plain clothes. Sometimes it was plain clothes variations, or sometimes it was just plain clothes. I was wrong earlier, by the way. David Cassidy played the Mirror Master.
Oh, okay.
I know.
in that.
I know. Kitty will appreciate. This is what Mark Hamill looked like as the Trickster in the 1990 Flash series.
Oh, you were right. I do
It
appreciate it.
did.
but-
Shirt.
And
So
again,
90s.
this
Oh.
is this
It's
is
such a 90s outfit.
this is
I like the hair.
This is so. Just let it be known. This was a year or two before he would go on to voice the Joker in Batman the Animated
And
Series.
with the same exact voice,
Oh,
by the
oh,
way.
man.
That
And-
voice
and
of the
then-
Trickster,
almost the
And
exact
then-
same
and then
voice.
almost
Mark
the exact
Hamill-
voice.
Just a
Yeah.
little bit different.
And then Mark
Yeah.
Hamill would go on 30 years later, almost 30 years later, to reprise his role as a trickster in
Yeah.
In the Grant Gustin Flash.
Yep.
yeah. Here is one. It's the crisis. Oh, let me go back to, let's see.
So,
So
hey,
this let me find it real quick. Here
Hey,
is
Bob.
his
Oh.
wait, wrong one. Here is his trickster look from the from the Flash modern day series.
yeah, they toned him down, but he was still over the top.
Oh,
He still
yeah.
looks a
Yeah,
bit.
well, he
Quite
was
reactive neons. Yeah.
he was
Oh.
playing like the original Trickster.
Oh, and here is his alternate look.
Yeah,
Where
the
Where
Earth
John
2.
Wesley Ship when John Wesley Ship would play as
Haley.
Bronze Age Flash.
Hey.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
Al.
Hey,
He was Jake Herrick
Cat,
in that,
cat,
and
cat.
I think he had a much better figure as Jake Herrick than he ever did as Barry Allen. But still, they were when they did Crisis on Infinite Earths, they closed out that Barry Allen story in the classic way
That Flash
that
looks
Barry
so
Allen
bad.
went
That
out
Flash
into
looks so
comics.
bad.
Yeah.
That Flash from the Legend of Superheroes looks so bad. The M doesn't even look. The lightning bolt doesn't even look like a lightning bolt. It looks like a
Snake.
it looks like a janky version of the McDonald's M.
Yeah.
And of course, we have Grant Gustin's
Oh,
costume.
the best iteration, in my opinion.
Have part 2.
Sorry, everybody. I accidentally hit the record stop button.
Okay.
I meant to hit the chat button to get away from that.
Haley.
So this is
Yeah.
like ignore the cutoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
You're in my
we'll get
way,
kind of
child.
fade in. Anyway,
Yeah.
Grant Gustin, the Grant Gustin has, I think he's had like a new costume every
Oh,
season.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget his starter suit where he's wearing like the tank top and the shorts and the
Oh,
bicycle
yeah.
helmet.
Yeah, so and then
Even and Grant Gustin, he went through quite a few suits as well.
yeah, like he has a new one about every year.
And there's
Yeah.
the live action.
And-
There's the live action Flash we're not going to be talking about though because
I'll say two things about that one. This is where the suit quality has come full circle.
Oh.
And two, when I was in college, my my concert band went to on a sort of exchange thing into Canada, and we stayed with host families at the school where we were visiting. And the guy, I was teamed up to stay at the same house as a trumpet player named Bob.
Mhm.
And when we were meeting the family, he's before I could speak up, he said, "Hi, we're Bob."
So weird.
Nice.
And
Bob.
so in the trailer
Great.
that I've seen, we have the same thing with where one of the Barrys starts. We have two Barry Allens, and one of them starts to talk, and the other one says, "We're Barry."
Mm.
And I do appreciate that particular moment.
Both
Other
played
than
by,
that, other than that, I deny that the movie exists.
Yeah.
the only thing I'm looking forward to about
That's my opinion on it.
the only thing I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
about the Flash movie is Michael Keaton coming back as Batman and seeing this version of Supergirl.
Hey Bob, you you helped me connect some dots earlier. You mentioned Nocturne being Nightcrawler and Scarlet Witch's daughter from another
Oh,
dimension,
from the
right?
animated TV show
Yeah,
that came out,
yeah,
came
so
out in the mid 2000s.
I watched so that was from Wolverine and the X-Men, and I noticed that Nightcrawler and Wanda had a little flirtationship going on, right? And at first I thought,
Aw.
okay, that's just Kurt being Kurt, because Kurt's a flirt. That no rhyme
Kurt,
intended there.
Kurt the
Oh,
flirt.
but it's
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Hashtag
So-
Kurt the flirt.
Right. So you mentioning that was their daughter in another timeline. I'm like, wait a minute. They were actually they must have been giving a nod to that in that cartoon the whole time. So thank you for that.
Probably, yeah.
It all connected in my head.
Got
just
that
now.
all connected. Well, yeah. I I was
It all fits together. It
Yeah,
all-
yeah, it was while I was researching multiverse stuff and what reading the Exiles was part of that, and I just kind of started to really like Nocturne. Nocturne in the comics also is along with Wesley Dodds Sandman.
Mm.
Those are the two characters in comics who are stroke survivors.
I didn't know
Oh,
that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Interesting. That's
Yeah,
they learned
didn't know
something
that.
interesting. Nice.
You know, with all this discussion too, and then something that Myron and Bob just had said, one of the things that I've gotten to the point with all this stuff, especially going back as far as I do, and Bob also, and Myron to some extent, because you're probably the next in line age wise.
Yeah, I'm probably third oldest here.
Yeah, is that you know, with the introduction of the multiverse across all these major companies, titles, whatever, it has made it easier to stomach some of these changes, because even a performer with Spider-Man, I get asked a lot of questions like, well, do you remember when you did this and that? It's like, well, no, that was another Spider-Man. The multiverse is one of my biggest assets for able to get out of asking questions that I don't know the answer to, or to say that I did this but that was somebody else, whatever. But it's also afforded me a level of acceptance for the black suits and the X-Men, for the Transformers being a little different, for the Dune movie or something like that not being exactly what it was from the books, because otherwise, if you wanted to be a quote unquote purist, you might as well not be into it, because it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to have your favorite iteration, like Kitty has her original iteration that she loves, Harley, but the multiverse is a thing, multiple medias. You're gonna have to love what you love and accept what you don't. But just with the realization that there's going to be different iterations for it.
Oh yeah.
And not many examples that keep bouncing generation to generation to where they're appealing across the board. Like I said, I brought up the Turtles earlier. That's the only one that I can think of that has molded itself to society to be appealing.
And there's been so many iterations of the Turtles.
Intentionally, though, that's what I'm saying. They do that to appeal to each generation that comes out.
Especially with this new version coming out soon.
Yeah, and that's intentional. But it's a marketing thing. They're not really doing it for anybody other than the dollar. But some of our characters, the X-Men going way back, Batman going way back, Flash, Shazam, all those kinds of guys. With this multiverse thing, it's made it okay to love what you love in whichever version, and at least be accepting of the rest, I guess, is the way I'm looking at it. Because otherwise, I'm with you, Myron. I was like, oh my god, what are you doing? Because you're going to, no matter what. But as long as they get the essence of it right, I guess. I don't know, because I'm just putting that together because everybody's said pretty much the same things, like, oh, there was this version, then that one, then this one, then that one, but I really only love the one, but I like, or at least am tolerant of the rest. And it's a nice thing to have at our disposal, which we didn't have 20, 25 years ago even.
Well, the rule is the same between adaptations and cosplay. It's fine as long as you get the spirit of the thing right.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Marvel
Cinematic Universe has been pretty faithful with that, with the exception of Mantis. But,
that's a tough one, though. That is a tough one to pull off.
Yeah. But for the most part, you look at that, and this is how it operates in this particular universe or version of the multiverse, or however. And the only disappointment that I had with Spider-Man No Way Home was that we didn't get a Nicholas Hammond cameo.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, nothing stays the same. Nothing is. There's nothing out there that is stayed the exact same way it was when it first started.
Nope. But you know what? Your first introduction does. So if this is where you first found it, it's always going to be there.
It's always going to. Yeah, that version will always be there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So otherwise, you're absolutely right. And I didn't mean to cut you off, Myron. I was just going to say, but I'm right there with you. But wherever your heart lied is always going to be there, and then you can accept the rest of these changes. And I think that's what is wonderful for, like, my daughter Sam. The Flash that she likes isn't the one that I may have liked, or her obsession with Nightwing wasn't mine, or whatever the case may be. But it's still it's okay.
As long as it's not his disco suit.
Well, oh god. All right. Now that we all talked about Marvel and DC, I'm gonna have everyone go around, including myself, talk about non-Marvel and DC adaptations. I'll go first. Because now that I'm trying to think here.
Well, mine wasn't a Marvel or DC.
Yeah, now you have to do Marvel and DC.
Well, now you have to do Marvel. Well, I'm thinking, Kitty, are there any non-Marvel and DC comic book characters that you've ever seen of that have had a live adaptation done?
Absolutely. So I know they're tied to DC, but my favorite comic book is actually Dark Horse's Hellboy.
Mike Mignola. Nice.
Mike Mignola, oh my God. His art style, his world building, even his concept art, it's been like a huge inspiration since I was a kid. But my introduction to Hellboy was actually the Guillermo del Toro Hellboy,
Yes.
which after reading the comics makes no sense comic wise, but
No.
they own it.
But it's Guillermo del Toro though.
It's Guillermo del Toro. Oh my goodness.
As the girl said, it's Mr. Totoro.
It's Mr. Totoro. Yeah, absolutely. He's actually how I got into makeup too, because I learned that all of his movies he tries to do practical effects because he used to be a makeup artist.
Pan's Labyrinth is a good example.
So is Mimic.
Absolutely. Well, and
Chronos.
but something that kind of comes back to what we were talking about earlier about how like when movies are able to nod at when they don't do something right. I love when you're meeting the like insert character. Myers is meeting Hellboy. He like looks on the table and he sees a pile of the comic books and you hear in the background, I hate those comic books.
They never get the eyes.
They never get the eyes right.
Yeah, they never get the eyes right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Ron Perlman.
And he wears combat boots in that when he's normally a hoofed character in the comics. Yeah.
And in Justice 2, the DLC character Hellboy.
Yeah.
He's more faithful to the comics and he actually has hooves. One real quick thing.
Very hard to play, so at least for me.
I can't imagine having to wearing hooves. So one thing I want to bring up, speaking of Hellboy, there is going to be a Hellboy game coming out in the style of the comic book, and it's being voiced. Rest in peace, but Lance Reddick is going to be has voiced Hellboy. Rest in peace to that guy. And I saw the gameplay footage, hearing Lance's voice, like, yes, that works. Lance has the voice for Hellboy.
I saw that when I was watching the Game Awards live, and I think that's where they announced it, if I'm not mistaken. And I was sitting there at my computer. I got up. I was screaming. It's going to be beautiful. I'm so excited for it. The cell shading style translates really well into video games.
It does.
Like Hades kind of does a similar style, and it works really well.
Okami is another good example. What were your thoughts on the Hellboy reboot with David Harbour?
I have very mixed feelings about it because I really, really love David Harbour and his kind of portrayals. Because I've only ever really seen him in Stranger Things.
You didn't see Violent Night? What is wrong with you?
I haven't seen it yet. I'm a bit behind. It's been a rough couple months.
Totally understandable.
But I love that he's able to be gruff. But the thing that kind of got me is I felt like he was a little bit too whiny for my taste. Maybe that's a bit harsh, but even in the Del Toro, the thing is though, Hellboy, he's kind of a bitchy character. Like he likes to mope about, he likes to complain.
He's like a teenager still, basically.
A little ironic. He is. He's a teenager in an adult demon's body.
He likes
and I
cats.
Can't really.
Yeah.
Yes, he loves. I love the fact that he has a thing for. I love the thing he has a thing for cats. That's probably the best thing.
Very wholesome. Yeah, it was also. I'm getting ahead of myself. Hold on.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I liked how in the David Harbour movie, they put a lot of nods to comic books. Like you can see direct nods with like Wild Hunt references. And I love the introduction of the Blood Queen as well. But I felt like a lot of what they did was to look good in pictures building up to it. When I followed the development of the movie like really closely.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And a lot of the moments they would like basically they look good as a picture. But then when I watched it in the movie, I was like, oh, it wasn't quite as epic as I felt like. That being said, I still love it because I love Hellboy. I love all the live action movies. I love all the animated movies, the comic books. I even have some of the novels.
They made. I remember seeing the animated movie that came out. Like it was based off the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had Doug Jones still playing Abe Sapien.
Yes.
It still had Ron Perlman as Hellboy. Oh my goodness. How am I spacing on her name as Elizabeth Sherman?
Come on. You got it.
Selma Blair?
Blair.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
someone thank you.
I loved her portrayal as Elizabeth Sherman in the movie.
Yeah.
And that was actually, and I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw Hellboy, I thought it was a Marvel movie.
Hmm.
I can see that.
Like early,
Interesting.
like pre MCU.
What, like Blade era type stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I can see that.
Way
My- and
Fantastic Four era.
Yeah, my only gripe with
No.
the David Harbour Hellboy is the makeup, how he barely has any facial expressions like Ron Perlman did. But again, Ron Perlman, it was like
There was like almost no makeup on him. Ron looks like that.
He did look like
But, like,
Ron.
that's my only gripe with the David Harbour movie is that he's got that big like thing right here on his forehead, and just like barely has any facial expression, like when the guy shoots at him and he says, "Hey, I'm on your side."
The
Right?
studio really jacked that movie up. Unfortunately, that had a lot more potential than what we got to see.
Like
Uh,
David Harbour, he's a good actor. I mean, playing as Red Guardian in Black Widow, perfect.
And the upcoming Thunderbolts as well.
Oh, yep. And also Violent Night. I've seen the trailer. I guess I'll go.
Mhm.
Non Spawn.
Oh,
And
It-
don't forget
it-
Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, but yeah, no, yeah. Spawn is my favorite. I didn't know
I
it was a
love
comic. I
Spawn.
didn't know it was a comic book because I was introduced to the TV movie, the movie, and then the animated show, which came right after that. But yeah, Spawn. It's by
Todd
Vertigo.
McFarlane, and
It's
it was
by-
an
it-
Image.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was Vertigo.
Image.
No, Vertigo is DC. It was an
Oh.
Image comic.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Image, yeah.
Oh,
On
okay.
his
Well,
image.
yeah.
I
I-
actually kind of trust Image because of
My headsets are dying.
Yeah, it was Image.
but yeah,
that
no,
was
Spawn.
that was the mass exodus of all the major talent from Marvel to
Yep,
create Image.
yeah.
Spawn was my favorite because, well, one, it was the second comic book movie I saw as a kid because the first one I saw was Batman Forever. But then I saw Spawn
Mm.
and I loved it. Like, yeah, looking back at it now, the CGI is not the greatest, but Michael Jai White as Al Simmons, aka Spawn, was the best. Not only that, because years later, Michael Jai White would go on to play Bronze Tiger in the Arrowverse.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mm.
Spawn was my favorite. I actually on my actually got to read the Spawn comics finally on my on the App Store, and like it's really good. Todd's
was
art
fantastic.
style was like the best. It's gritty. And then seeing the animated show, which you can watch all episodes on HBO Max now, like I think what Todd McFarlane did, was he a fan of the movie when it came out, or was he a little mixed feelings?
During development, he had a lot of say in that one. That's why he makes the cameo, because he is in it.
Wait, what cameo did he make? I didn't see it.
He was so when Spawn went down Crime Alley or whatever the hell they called it in that. He's the guy that backed up against the wall. Like when we sees him come walking through there, that's actually Todd.
Yeah. Just like Frank Miller in Sin City.
Yeah.
That's the priest.
Well, he was in RoboCop 2 because he wrote that and all that stuff too. So yes, and then was kind of disappointed about the box office return.
Well, I mean,
But they all were.
It was more action packed than.
But dude, at that time, you're talking about like a late 20-something-year-old kid that gets to see his creation on the big screen. Come on, of course he's on board with it.
No.
If you watch the interviews and stuff, he does talk about why they changed the cape, why he doesn't always have the cape, because he said himself, realistically, there's nobody that can walk around with a 20-foot cape behind him that's not going to trip over it and all that kind of stuff. So
I mean,
they killed the cape.
Tom Baker made it work with this 12-foot scarf from Doctor Who.
Well, he
Yeah.
looped it around a couple of
Oh
times.
Yeah.
true. But
But
no.
Do that with a cape, obviously.
yeah, so
Besides, it started out 12 feet.
So Todd was instrumental in and changes and stuff. So yeah, it was pretty much his baby right there. It just studios being what they are,
And-
ratings and all that stuff. He couldn't bring in Kincaid. They couldn't bring in a lot of the other stuff, and they had to change his origins a little bit because
Oh,
of
yeah.
rights and all that crap. But yeah, he was all
But
for
I
it.
also like John Leguizamo as the Violator.
I have mixed feelings on that. If you read the comics, he did what he could do with what he did. It was good.
I saw the makeup on the DVD.
Oh, it was good.
I saw the makeup process. I'm just like, the fact that they can get someone like John Leguizamo, who's like almost 6 foot something, and make him like a fat 4-foot demonic clown thing is like it's perfect.
Yeah,
I'm
similar
sitting there
to
thinking-
what had happened to him in Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, is La Trousse Tarek. Yeah. I'm surrounded literally by about 50 Spawn figures right now, and I don't think I
Wow.
have
Nice.
one clown out or the Violator. I was gonna grab it real quick, but I don't. Yeah, I even got the Kickstarter action figures from that. But yeah, Spawn was fantastic, Wayne. It was for the time.
And I know for the longest time, I remember back in 2016, a buddy of mine who's into comics and does and works for indie comic stuff. We were talking about how Todd McFarlane was wanting to bring back Spawn to the big screen, and how this time around he's wanting to make Spawn more like Jaws, where you really don't see Spawn until like you see him here and there, but you don't really see him close towards the end.
Which would be
Mm.
nice. That's one of the ones I
Mm.
can grab right off the bat.
Ooh.
Oh
There
my
we go.
goodness.
There we go.
Yeah, I've got that was the easiest one I could grab. I've got tons of them around.
And also, I also got really excited when I saw Spawn's unlockable character in the Xbox version of Soul Calibur 2.
Yeah.
Oh
Mm.
yeah.
Yep.
I was so jealous
Oh.
of that because I had the I had the PS2.
Oh,
and
you
I
had
got-
you
Hey,
had
Hachi
So I got- I'm like, I don't use-
you
I
had
don't
you
use-
had Heihachi from Tekken, and if
I
you had the
don't use
GameCube, and if-
Hayashi in Tekken. I'm not going to want to use him in Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
and if
Like,
you had the
I want
and if you had the
Spawn.
and if you had the GameCube version, you had Link. You had Link.
Yeah. But at least he had a
Mhm.
sword. Hey, Hachi just went
With
at
his
it.
fist.
Right.
Yeah.
That was super
And
dumb. to me.
Spawn had an axe,
Yeah.
Mhm.
a double-edged like battle axe, but yeah, no, Spawn favorite. I would love to see it revitalized because, like Brian said, it didn't do so well at the box office. Because again, this was '90s when they were coming out with a bunch of comic book, basically the '90s era, as I call it, the live action era for anime, video games, and comic book characters.
Yeah.
That axe.
Ooh, yep, that's it. See, that's my. Which version is Spawn? He looks like a Viking with that in that
It's
one.
medieval. I have the whole medieval line. I have the samurai line. I told you I've got a ton of them. I've got
Wow,
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have a lot of toys, more than yeah.
Well, no, if
Yes,
you
so
if,
many.
if you've seen any other videos that had Brian in, if you see on his wall, he has like a bunch of horror collection stuff too. He has like from Friday the 13th.
Ooh.
Yeah.
My favorite. I love that.
Oh yeah.
He's my boy.
Haley, what non-Marvel or DC character do you know of that's had comic books and live adaptations?
So, I'm sure most of you can at least recognize the Power Rangers.
Mm.
Oh, that's right.
I
They did
think-
have a comic book run.
Yeah, so
Yes, they did.
What the other
yeah,
direction?
the
though?
comic book run came after the so Power Rangers is adapted from Super Sentai,
Yep.
which is you
Yeah.
buy the
And
Japanese
Koroku and
footage.
Dai. Yep.
I would really love to see, and we've kind of already seen it a little bit with like some fan projects. I feel like the comics can delve a little bit more into
And the comics are very
more-
dark.
some more darker themes because Power Rangers at its core, it's a children's television show.
With
you have
with
wacky
ex
hijinks.
exploding backgrounds,
Exactly.
posing,
Yeah.
flames.
It's very
yeah.
flashy.
Oh, yeah.
But I really like some of the stuff that they've done with like the comic books, and there was the whole thing with Lord Drakon, and there was like the fan project that kind of delve a little bit into that, and it would be really cool to see, for some of the people that like grew up on Mighty Morphin, they're adults now, so saying, okay, what can we do with these teenagers and show some more of like the darker sides of,
So you're saying that the answer is not that most recent movie?
Damn.
Is this a comic? Is this the comic you're talking about?
There's like a couple different ones that I've seen,
This one's
like
by-
different runs. I think they're all by Boom Studios.
Yep,
but
yep.
just kind of
Publication date February 26, 2016. Number of issues. Holy crap! There's a total of as of November 2022. There's a total of 183 issues of Power
Wow.
Ranger comics.
there's
Oh,
I
wow.
think there's like 200 plus.
Oh,
now.
I'm sure, but yeah, with
Probably.
2023, but that's still a lot of fucking comics.
It would actually be
Yeah.
really cool because they did have like the Cosmic Rangers were solely from the comic books, if I'm not mistaken. So it'd be cool to see like a live action adaptation of that, you know, and who knows with how Power Rangers is kind of up in the air, I guess. I mean, like, you know, there's been like talks of like, oh, you know, straying away from solely adapting the Super Sentai and like creating their own thing basically, instead of just like buying the footage like they normally do. You know, who knows, you know, comics make it easy. You can kind of just do anything because
You
you
can
can
get away
draw
with a lot. You can
anything.
get away with a lot of. I mean, look at some of
Yeah.
Akira Toriyama's earlier mangas. Some of them, like, what the fuck?
Mhm.
Yeah, the suspension of disbelief that comics and manga can offer is it's
You
incredible.
can't
A lot of
see
really
that. You
good
can't
horror
have
out
that. You can't have that shown in an anime.
there.
Well, at least not one that you can have appeal to a broader audience. But with
I mean,
you know, Haley, with the Rangers, though, why do you think that like that last movie that did go a little bit darker and tried to update it didn't work as well as it could have, let's say, if they'd done the same kind of thing in the comics?
I think the major difference is the 2017 movie. I felt like they leaned into the angst a little too much. And
A
it
little
kind
too
of
much
drew
teenagers with
away
attitude.
one of their core audiences, which is, you know, they're like me. I love like the wacky hijinks and whatnot, and I feel like you know, the comics can bring you know, a serious aspect and still keep the core, like, you know, colorful. Like, yeah, it's tacky, it's a bunch of teenagers with attitude in spandex.
But wouldn't work when you mix it on the big screen like that movie. Whereas the first ones, it was okay because it was a direct lift.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why that didn't work. Something just never clicked in my head until I sat and thought about it, and basically came up with what you just said. Much like Max Steel. It's like that should have worked. That should have worked beautifully. Both of them should have.
For my own part, the 2017 Power Rangers movie is one of my favorites. But a lot of that has to do with R.J. Cyler as Billy Cranston.
Oh yeah.
Just a sort of just an adorable character. I keep my eye out for
they did that
on the autism spectrum.
They did that actor dirty in that series.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why that didn't work, and I think you're right, Haley. They dug into the angst part and then made it too dark, and then tried to make it too light. And you can't do a medium like that if you don't commit believably to either side. You know, because you can. I mean, it's possible to do. Guardians of the Galaxy proved it. A few others have. You know, you can be silly and have a serious tone. You can be serious and have a silly tone if handled correctly. And it just never quite worked. But I think you're right. If they did something like that in the comics, went the other direction and not adapted the comics into live action, took what we got live action and went into the comics, made it bright and colorful, but it can be violent, it can be dark. I think you're right. That's probably about the only way you really can go, and maybe separate it from the rest of the universe, make it its own thing, like
and
entirely.
There were definitely aspects that I commend the movie for. Again, you know, talking about like the whole like autism representation, you know, and there were parts of it that it did well, but I think the fact that they didn't have a balance, you know, you kind of have to have a balance of both in order to keep both audiences, you know, to keep the you know, oh, I'm looking for like a really serious story too. I'm just looking to go to a movie and have a good time and probably laugh at some jokes or whatever, you know. And again, it's like you mentioned earlier, a lot of things with comics and movies and just media in general, it's to make the money, and that's kind of the unfortunate part, because we're like, oh, we care so much about it, and you know, oh, they should like care a lot about the fans, and it's like, no, they see the dollar signs and
Star
yeah.
Wars. Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Anybody else get some
Star Wars or any Batman.
Yeah. Anymore.
Anyway, moving on.
Real quick, with Power Rangers, did anybody else get some Breakfast Club vibes from the beginning of that movie?
Yes.
A little
Yes.
bit.
Okay, okay. Just want to make sure I wasn't.
I was
by
gonna bring.
myself
I
on
was
that
But I'd
gonna
one.
never
bring.
seen
I was,
Breakfast
I was,
Club,
I was
so-
gonna bring that up, but you beat me. You already. Elsa. Marvel or DC or manga would you like to see adapted?
Well, okay, we were talking about this earlier before we started, but I really want to see Dark Horse's comics of The Mask, the actual gory, gritty stuff.
Mhm.
There is a fan film you can watch on YouTube that they
Look at Kitty.
adapted.
Woo! Yeah.
I'm just like,
No.
yes, I agree. Go on.
Like, as much as I appreciate the Jim Carrey movie, I just want to see like what happens afterwards, like how the mask goes affects other victims. As we know, he ends all of the users horribly.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, it's bad.
The movie makes it seem like it's all just like whimsy, you know?
They did that,
Yeah,
they did that
Oh.
with the animated show a year later.
Yeah, as
Mhm.
I mean, the animated show was amazing as well, especially the theme song.
Oh yes.
But I would love to see it. Like, oh my gosh, like that one guy who died being a refrigerator. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or
I don't.
I think you're right.
yeah, just
That sounds right. I just remember the one after the big bloodbath, walking outside and just getting them mowed down and stuff. That was one of the earlier runs, but I think it might have been one of the one shots.
Oh yeah, and the one that Sam showed earlier.
Yeah.
also
Oh.
there was one with the poison ivy.
What?
Yeah, I just found it while googling photos like that.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh my.
Oh,
Wow. Okay.
Like-
he's got a pair of scissors.
Yeah,
That's
like
great.
I'm so curious to see, like, and also bringing new characters into the show. Captain Calloway actually had the mask for at one point.
Really?
Mhm.
In the
Yeah, well,
comics?
Yeah, in the comics.
You know, given
But-
its origins and stuff, and who it was with, to have that one item, because Loki's a thing in the Marvel universe,
Mhm.
could just as easily transfer into DC, obviously with those comic book covers. Being a Dark Horse, having that thing be like an infection throughout all comic universes and be the gritty, gross, like, I don't want to say dirty, but I guess that's about as good as the description. Yeah, I'm right there with you. That would be nice to see it, like, even whether it's its own thing or integrated into these other universes. And it's like, oh yeah, you guys think, you're playing for high stakes. Well, let me give you everything you want and then take it away from you in a horrific manner that you've never seen, turn you into something that you never thought you could be. And it's not going to be what you think. Yeah, that would be interesting. I'd love to see that.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Bob just
that would
shared
be
something.
awesome.
I will
Oh,
say
yeah. Look at that.
I will say the quote unquote sequel with Jamie Kennedy was god fucking awful.
Yeah.
I like that when it was little.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so catchy. Now
That-
it's like,
yeah.
how?
Oh,
No,
I think I
it's so
shared, by the
Wait,
way,
is that a-
Ross
oh, is it-
Pearsall
oh,
does this
that's
thing called
a-
Super Team Family: The Lost Issues,
oh, it's a fan
and
made
he takes. Yeah, it's not an actual comic, but it's what it could have been.
Dissing Ipkiss.
The Mask versus Loki,
Mm.
and Loki wants his mask back. So
Oh, that is hilarious.
Oh, but that would be awesome though to see that done as bad. I don't mean bad. I'm just talking about like horrifying as it was in the comics. In a live action, that would be very good.
Oh yeah,
Hell,
no.
even put it in like an anthology series form, like put it on a creep show type
Ooh,
thing, or
yes.
Tales from the
Yes,
Crypt or something
That would
like
be
that.
so good.
Give it a horror vibe.
And
I
it
mean,
just keeps going. Oh yeah,
someone again a few years ago. This was when I was living in
Shudder.
California.
call
I
me.
was,
We'll work on something.
I was looking on YouTube videos, and it just popped up. Someone made a fan film of the Mask based more on the comics. They made it more of a dark, and some people were saying this is what the Mask should have been. Someone should make this now. It's like an hour and a half fan film of the Mask based off the comics, which is more dark, gritty, bloody, in your face type of stuff. But yeah, I could
What?
see the mask. I could see the mask as a horror movie or an anthology.
Oh, it should be.
I
Shudder.
love it.
An
I love
anthology
that
would be
so
the best way to
much.
go.
Yeah.
Because you don't really see a whole lot of like comic related stuff put into horror. You see horror turn into comics, but not comics turn into horror stuff.
Not
Or on
really.
sc- on
And
Well, you
that's a
got to
perfect
see
platform.
fucking Archie.
Oh, wait,
Oh.
oh yeah, okay. Yeah, you got to see. Yeah, okay. Riverdale is an exception.
Yeah, that is
Riverdale is a
true.
nightmare all of its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Riverdale, and ooh, I just thought of another. Well, no, wait, never mind. That was anyway. Sam, non Marvel and DC comic that you know has been adapted, and which you prefer better.
I'm trying.
You're talking to DC girl. She's gonna struggle with that.
I mean, we can't go.
I
we
know.
We can go
I-
back to you if you like.
I don't read a lot of comics as much as I used to. Just because, I haven't found anyone that I liked. But mine are like more graphic novels more than like traditional comic books.
That counts.
That
Graphic novels.
counts.
Graphic novels count.
So the only one I can think of is Coraline, which terrifies me.
That is my daughter.
It's
Ooh.
Yeah, that's my daughter.
I heard Neil Gaiman's Coraline was really dark compared to what we saw in the movie.
Yeah, how
Oh,
is my
yeah.
copy of that book, Samantha?
Oh,
that
it's
you took-
fantastic, Father.
that you
Thanks
took
for
with you
asking.
when you moved to Utah. She took my copy of the graphic novel, by the way.
I accidentally stole it and have it-
Accidentally, she says.
I did.
Air quotations.
That's right.
Uh,
But that technically was a novel first, then it got the graphic novel adaptation, much
Mhm.
like Stardust, which is another one of my absolute
Yeah.
favorites.
good movie,
And
by
then,
the way.
and then got and then it got a movie. But that's a good choice, honey. I like that.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
looking.
the
I'm looking up
movie's
the.
creepy.
I'm looking up.
Mhm.
Is
Yep.
Yeah.
God, it look nothing like. And I know
Well,
Neil.
it's 'cause-
I heard Neil Gaiman did like the movie though too.
Oh, sure.
And here is here's here's another version of Coraline the books.
Yeah,
Mhm.
see, that's the book.
By
I still
Chris-
have my book. She has my graphic novel.
I'm
Oh,
so
oh,
sorry.
and here is a page. Here's a page from the graphic novel.
Oh, it's
Oh.
terrifying.
Wow.
I mean, like seeing that realistic compared to
Oh,
like what Tim
That's
Burton
pretty
did.
creepy.
Yeah.
Like the
It-
other,
it's- it's
mother.
dark.
The other mother is like, yeah, that's Tim Burton stuff. But like seeing like something like this, if I was to see something like that in real life, I would like, oh fuck no.
Oh,
it-
yeah.
They
it's-
basically do it
it's-
as a stop motion.
Yes, he
Well, it
did.
was Leica. Yeah, it was all the stop motion stuff with
Well,
Selma and all that.
here is the book, which is more, which they kind of used. Tim Burton used inspiration from.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
He
cover.
is-
Yeah, the guy I bought my Stormtrooper armor from, his name is Matt Zilla. That's actually his legal name. Worked for Leica
Hmm.
Entertainment and Coraline, and he just finished helping with the Pinocchio thing and stuff. So yeah,
Oh,
he
cool.
we were after
Ooh.
his
Look at this
NDAs were
version-
done. We
look
got
at
to
this
talk to
cover.
him about it.
Look at this cover of Coraline.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's a good one
You
too.
can't really,
That's a
you can't
creepy
really see
kitty.
it. You can't really see it, but I like the outfit.
Yeah.
It terrifies me to read it, but for whatever reason, I enjoy it.
It's scary, but in a good way.
Yeah.
But like, have you ever read the like stories of Neil like showing it to his niece to prove
Mhm.
that it wasn't too scary
Yep,
for
I
kids,
remember.
and then
I remember-
afterwards are going like it was scary.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Uncle, it was-
the movie doesn't do the book any justice.
No, but it's its own separate entity, and it's just as wonderful as the story. It's
Oh yeah,
a
I love the
still
movie.
dark tone, but lighthearted enough to be enjoyable. But I mean, look, you got like angelic Scotty dogs that are dead and mummified and bats and shit in there, but it's colorful enough to where like little kids can watch it, and it's dark. I mean, there's
Now,
dead kids in there. you know.
Oh
Yeah,
no, now
So
good
part
though.
of what made the novel so scary when I like had read it when I was younger was the fact that I was sitting there having to think of everything myself, you know,
And
and
it's
like you think
described
of worse
very darkly
things.
too. Sure.
Yeah, yeah, no,
now
I think
here's
Oh,
that's
yeah.
you can't
oh.
compare to the, oh no, did I just think myself into a nightmare corner? Oh
Oh,
no.
I
Probably, yeah.
mean, now here's a question for everyone: would you like to see the darker, core, gritty version of Coraline that was from the graphic novel be made into like a series or something live action?
Yes.
I don't know. After they did Lock and Key, Elsa, that's kind of a tough one because they screwed that up pretty bad. And that
Oh,
was kind of
I
a similar
really
tone.
I liked that.
Well,
Lock and Key.
but I was gonna say they tried to keep that same gritty horror film feel from the graphic novel into live action. It didn't
It
quite
didn't
work as
translate
well.
well.
Yeah,
So
Mm.
that might
I
be
agree.
depending on who's behind the project. Otherwise, I'm right there with you. The only reason I interrupted on that is because like
You
Lock
gotta
and
find. You gotta.
Key.
You gotta find. You gotta find
Ooh.
the right. You gotta find the right director. And
Yeah.
you also gotta find the right. Maybe like Bloomhouse. Maybe because
It would
Maybe.
definitely be interesting to see it live action.
Because Lock and Key was really dark and a great graphic novel, and then the series kind of neutered it a little bit. Whereas Coraline, if
Mm.
you got the right people, I'd watch it. Shit, you know,
I
I don't
mean,
care.
I can think of a few directors already in my mind because they've.
Ari Aster, give it to Ari Aster.
I can think of a few directors who I've seen make stuff based off of other source materials. Like, okay, yeah, I trust you to
Yeah.
make it, but my only issue is it's not the Miller director, it's the producers. Like, I've seen many adaptations done where the producers like The Witcher. Sorry.
Well, you know, you just gotta get a good screenwriter in though too. Even Jordan Peele could probably handle that because of the stuff he deals with.
Oh
Because you know,
no. Us.
yeah. Well,
Get
I'm just saying
Out.
with the way Neil writes, and
Jordan
you know, granted
directs.
there is a cultural gap and slight differences, but I think Jordan or like I said, Ari Aster is somebody who's really good at the way they portray horror, like in Hereditary or Midsommar or something like that.
Ooh,
Would,
I saw Midsummer and like
yeah, see, and that's Ari
what
Aster. I think
the
he could probably do a
fuck
Coraline adaptation. Yeah, it's
was
good.
Midsummer like? I was not expecting like
No.
the first part is all lighthearted and like okay, then it's like
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at is that you get the right person behind it. That would be a fun one to watch, and I think a live action,
or
even
even
if
the
it was a
guy who
series.
directed The Lighthouse or Witch.
Oh, Robert Eggers. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Eggers,
really
yeah.
good. I was
Like
thinking that too.
and the
I'm a
fact
big
the fact
fan.
that show movies like The Witch and The Lighthouse were all basically filmed like on location. Everything was built from the ground up. Like okay, it's doable.
Yeah, he
Myron.
cares about the immersion. So
Oh no, he.
Yeah,
Oh, and I
I think
actually
makes a
saw
difference.
and I saw The Witch. I'm like, you can actually not to, you know, promote HBO Max, but you can watch The Witch on HBO Max.
Yeah.
It's on there. Myron, non-Marvel and DC comics that have, you know, that have been adapted into live actions and which you prefer more, the comic or the live adaptation?
First one that comes to mind for me is The Walking Dead.
Mm.
Oh.
That one sticks out to me because that one, kind of backtracking across the entire conversation, that one helped me understand the whole thing about changes. Like I came in on the TV show. I came in on the TV show, but that got me intrigued about the comic. So while I've only read maybe about 3 volumes of the comic, I spent a crap ton of time on the Walking Dead wiki. So I read so much about the comics that by the time the episodes came out, I already knew what was going to happen, minus little changes here and there. So seeing, you know, like Daryl doesn't exist in the comics.
He was made specifically for the show.
Right. Yeah. So different little changes like that, like
the governor's introduction.
Right.
Roy's dead. Is it Ron or Roy? He's the one. He's the one who wears that fisherman's hat in the show. His death in the comics is different from what it was in the TV show.
Oh, they're 2 completely separate entities. They had similar character names, but that was the thing. They started off kind of parallel. and
And
they
then
were
Yeah.
two separate
yeah.
entities.
And yeah, so I started looking at the show and the comics as two separate, different,
You have to.
universes, and that's when the veil just came off from over my eyes. I'm like, wait a minute, this has been happening the entire time I've been alive. And before that, like G.I. Joe and Transformers, they
Yeah.
both have the comics and the cartoon at the exact same time, and they're going in two different directions because there's no comic issue that correlates specifically with a cartoon episode,
and vice
so that's
versa.
when so that's what kind of got me going down my little rabbit hole of being more accepting of changes, realizing that if something crosses a medium, it's not going to stay the same.
It's okay.
period.
I can like it all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I credit The Walking Dead for helping me
It's
get there.
probably
Oh,
the
nice.
best example of that too.
And
Yeah.
The Walking Dead got a spin-off, Fear of the Walking Dead, and we're also getting,
Fear-
I think, a new
Fear the
Walking
Walking
Dead.
Dead,
And then we're also
two,
get,
They need to just stop with the spinoffs, man.
and I know we're getting
As-
another.
as a-
I know we're getting another
as a
spin-off
fan,
with
I agree,
Maggie, and I
yes.
think we're getting that other spin-off with Maggie and Negan. How Negan's getting his redemption arc.
And then there's supposed to be the Rick and Michonne thing coming. And stuff.
Yeah.
As much as I love, in fact, it's funny you mentioned that particular show because one of my Facebook memories came up the other day from 12 years ago when the series premiered. I
It
binge
Dang, it
watched.
has been that
it's
long, damn it.
Yeah.
Wow.
12
Yeah,
years?
I
Fuck.
binged watched the entire first season with my ex-wife because she hadn't watched it, and because I bought the Blu-ray when it first came out. We stayed till like 4 a.m. because she was like, "Oh, another episode." Like, okay, god damn it! All right.
Didn't we all watch that together though?
You girls fell asleep pretty quickly, but we binge watched that, and that was such an important. I mean, we used to go up to Eugene. Well, actually, it was Coburg for season premieres with friends of ours. It was such a big part of all of our lives. It was one of
Yeah.
those no interrupt this nights when it was on.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
shut the hell up. You need something. You need to get it done before this
Exactly.
came on. Same thing with Game of Thrones.
Yep.
But it was weird for me that right up until when they introduced Negan, it was like that. And then the first 2 episodes after that, I was like, I hate this show. This show sucks.
Yeah.
You
That
know what I mean?
happened-
Because it
yeah.
was so engrossing and it was so good. Just like you're saying that I can love this and not have to worry about it affecting my love for the comics. But then that show just such a steady decline in quality and feel. And I
Yeah,
don't
and
know
they
why
killed
that happened.
everybody.
Well, not just
Yeah.
that, just the feel of the show changed so drastically. The Walker Stalker con no longer held any appeal. I didn't want to watch it anymore. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
saying it was bad. It just, for me personally, and a lot of the viewership, it tanked at
Yeah,
that
it
point.
was-
And do you
was
think it
Carl-
has something to do with the way the comics went?
Yeah. Carl's death is what did it for me. Like
Okay.
up until then, same. I was like, I have to watch it at the moment it's coming out. Like I'm like I was pissed if I had to wait for the second showing of it after Talking Dead. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm watching it and I'm on Twitter and it's like everybody on Walking Dead Twitter, we're all watching. It's like we're all watching in the same living room,
Mhm.
just interacting with it
Yeah,
together.
it was a huge experience.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Carl's death came, and I would like after that, I still kept
Ooh.
up with it.
I remember
but
watching.
I no longer
I remember
had
watching
that.
reactions
Yeah,
for that.
I no
and-
longer had that. Oh, I gotta watch it tonight. Vibe.
Yeah. So why? I mean, what happened there?
I think
I
after the
think-
whole Negan killing people, I was done with the show. It's like,
But
nope.
see,
I-
everybody
I
has
was-
a point in that show when that happened, but it's not the same for everybody. But yet the comics kept going with
Yeah,
the same
I-
amount of
Yeah.
love, which
Yeah,
is
I was cool
why I
with-
was
with-
asking.
with Negan's with Negan coming in. I was like, people who had been now I didn't follow the comics, but people who had
Yeah.
been following the comics were waiting for that moment.
So
that
was
was
I.
the moment. That was the moment that a lot of people who came in on the show exited, and I'm like, people, if they didn't do that moment right, if they didn't do it the way they did it in the show, the people who loved the comic would have been like, "Dang, y'all failed. We've
Yeah.
been waiting on this the whole time." Even when they teased Glenn's death, like early in
Oh.
season 5, when they were escaping from Terminus, and
Yeah.
that dude had that bat behind Glenn's head. I'm like, no, this is not it, y'all. This is too early. Y'all shut
Yeah.
up. This is not it.
Mm.
So they were leading up to it. So had they not killed somebody, on one of my friends was like, "Oh, when Glenn's eyeball popped out of his head, like that was it for me." I'm like, really, all this gore and everything you've been seeing the entire 6th season before, and that's the moment you get off? Like,
Some
on.
of them,
Oh,
I
no,
think it was because the
I-
emotional investment in the character, and Stephen Young did really
Yeah,
make you
he
I
like
mean,
killed
like
him.
the
it.
whole
He
scene
killed
with
it.
him under the dumpster where I think my dad
Right.
stood up and
Yeah.
threw something at the TV because of how angry and upset he got. It's like, oh
Yeah.
man.
Well, oh yeah. I mean, I cried like a
Yeah.
little girl when Sophia came out of the barn.
Oh yeah,
So it's just like, oh my
no.
God, oh baby,
Oh
But
man.
like I said, it's just so weird for me to have such an investment in a show like that, and then just an immediate, I don't care. And it was at
Yeah.
that point for me, and I've heard that from other fans, and I was going to ask you if you had that, and obviously you said you did when Carl went.
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate because it had the potential. I don't like the way the comics ended. They did explain where the whole thing came from.
You said they
which-
did or they didn't?
Oh, they did. Kirkman, yeah, it's there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I
I'm
won't tell you if you haven't read it. Yeah,
I'll just go read about it because
Yeah.
I haven't
Let's go read about it.
yeah, because I haven't like kept up with it enough to really feel like, okay, I gotta go. Like if I start a new anime, I'm going to start from the beginning. But
Sure.
with something like with that, I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna go see what happened.
But up until your exit and apparently like 3/4 of the viewership's exit, would you say that it was a really good adaptation? I mean, was it one of your favorites? Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
it was
so would I.
definitely one of my favorites. I think the reason why Carl's death kind of threw me was that because I knew where his story was going, and now he dies, and then they have to like half-assedly like spread his story across 3 or 4 different people, and I'm like, really,
Yeah.
really, y'all, really?
Yeah.
Brian, since you talked about non-Marvel DC, what's the Marvel or DC comic that's been adapted, and do you prefer the adaptations or do you prefer the comics?
Okay, well, first I'm gonna go back to the well from a previous episode I was on before I mentioned the one that I really want. I want him live action. I need
Yes,
Long
yes.
Shot. I want my boy Long Shot. I don't.
Is he
Yes.
Marvel or DC?
Oh, he's Marvel, man. He messes
Yeah,
around
yeah.
with Spider-Man
that?
and She-Hulk.
Long Shot.
And it's Long
Man.
Shot.
Wait, when did we
It's-
talk? Did we talk about them? The
He's
differences
from
in-
Mojo World.
Oh, it
and all
was
that
when
stuff.
we were doing
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, see, look,
there
there's
was-
Doctor Strange, there's She-Hulk.
It was when
there-
we were
yeah.
doing. It was when we were doing the similarities and difference between Marvel and DC comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, because there's
Oh,
even Spider-Man up there.
Yeah.
He's
No.
with
Long
everybody.
Shot would be good to come out with now that
It-
Marvel's going on to the
A TV
with
show. I
their
see.
multiverse. So
I
Yeah.
see. I would see it
Yeah.
as a TV series.
and so would Exiles, Kevin Feige. How are
Yeah.
you doing the Marvel multiverse without the Exiles?
I
Give
don't
him time. Give him
know.
time. Give Kevin Feige some time.
But I'd love to see him in some form of live action.
Mm.
But the one for me, obviously, that I've loved I can't say loved the 70s version, but I've been at least accepting and rabid over every version of Spider-Man that we've ever seen, which is why I do what I do. But I really don't have a favorite. It's once again like trying to ask me which is my favorite child, which is Brandon. But I'm kidding.
Excuse you?
I'm kidding. Sammy.
Below the belt. Below the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
Coraline's
you know-
not getting back to you
Yeah.
anytime soon.
Yeah.
Mine
But-
now, sucker.
But that is one of the few instances where every version, even the like lesser films, I've soaked it all up. And it's because they've always at least gotten the character right in some capacity, whether it's the way they look, whether it's portrayed. Even the old 70s show like The Revenge of the Dragon. Or what was it?
The Japanese one or the American one?
Oh, Supaida Man?
Oh yeah. So speaking of so who here loves cats?
Well, obviously my daughter did with her mutant cat.
There's
Haley likes them.
there's an episode from Sue Spider-Man. It's
I love cats.
he's holding a cat and he says this.
For you, I will defeat the good people.
And he's holding an orange tabby. Like
Oh my goodness, that's so cute.
that's like adorable.
But yeah, even the Supaida Man for what it was great. I just, like I said,
Love cats.
it's because I think I'm age appropriate for getting to see that 70s version, the Electric Company version of Spider-Man, who didn't talk, he had the thought bubbles.
Oh, don't
obviously
forget
the Raimi stuff.
Japanese. Don't forget Japanese Spider-Man with a
Yeah,
submachine gun.
with a gun. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's rumors that he's going to be
That's great.
appearing in one
Into
of the
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse, one of the upcoming Spider-Verse.
And I'll be-
stuff.
Either
I'm
part
fine
one
with
or
that.
either part 1 or part 2.
Yeah. So
Well, it's no longer it's no longer part 1 and part 2, but it's going to be one of the two.
yeah. So I'd say still, that's going to be the one that,
And he's
Even
been
with-
he's been live adapted so many times, just like
Yeah.
almost damn near as much as Batman and Superman.
and I've been equally fine with all of them for different reasons. It's just one that I have not been disappointed in. Even with Spider-Man 3, my issues with that notwithstanding.
wait till we talk
Yeah.
about that one for was it worth?
Yeah, but even with that, there were certain elements to that was yeah. But
Yeah.
see, I'm just saying the Spider-Man end of it still worked with a few exceptions here and there.
Yeah, yeah.
So needy.
Not really ever found a really bad version of it that I was just like, oh no. I had issues with the Amazing Spider-Man at 1 and 2, but overall I was okay with it.
So
It's just been
that deserved a third film.
yeah, and a different writer.
We were
and
we were
stuff.
gonna get introduced to the live action version of the Sinister Six, and I'm still kind of miffed about that.
Yeah, but once again, it's one that I will. If I'm ever asked about like what's my favorite, that's gonna obviously be the one because I have no choice. I mean, I'm once again surrounded by a bunch of Spider-Man stuff right behind me.
Brian, I almost wore my X-Men shirt that has Longshot on it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's the one
See?
that from the Outback era of X-Men.
Oh, geez.
Before Psylocke was
Wow.
was Ninja Psylocke.
Yeah.
We're almost at 2.5 hours here. I didn't expect it to go all this long.
Oh, is it been that long?
Everybody's
Wow.
passionate.
Oh,
And
wow.
there's more to go.
Hopefully, hopefully, I'm not taking up anyone's time or anything. I do.
I don't work
apologize
tomorrow,
if
so
I
I'm
am.
fine.
I'm not taking up your. Am I taking up your time, Kitty?
Oh, I'm okay.
Okay. What about?
My headphones are dead, but I just keep switching between them.
Okay. What about?
Myron's the one that's like 9 hours ahead of us. So
Yeah,
that's
I
the
am
only-
What
going to
about-
bow out because I'm fading because my 3-year-old has a.
Oh, yeah,
we found
no,
out today
if-
that he has a double ear infection, so he kept us up all night last night.
So if anyone
yeah.
needs to head out early, I completely understand. I know Haley, and I'm sure you have to head out here soon too, right? Before you and Myron go real quick, Myron, would you like to let people know where they can find you on social media in case they want to follow you?
Yeah, y'all can find me at Smooth Cosplayer everywhere. SMOOVECOSPLAYA. Also Smooth Voices on Instagram, Twitter, and I forget where I'm at on that yet. I'm just getting that started.
When I had you do the when I had you do the announcement, you set the bar really high, Myron.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I was so mad when I heard that. It's like, I can't compete with that shit. Come on, man. So
A great
yeah.
voice, man.
Oh, it was
Thank
you,
fantastic,
thank you.
Myron. Yeah.
I'm going to
Appreciate
turn
that,
it to
appreciate
apples
that.
and oranges and be the strawberry.
And Haley, where can people find you on social media in case they want to follow you?
So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Hayes Hobbies, HAYS_hobbies. You can also see my TikTok. That's going to be Hey There 12, HAY_there_12. And you can find me on YouTube at Haley Repetti.
And also be sure to follow their twin _spect.
Yes.
Nice. So yeah, whenever you guys are ready to leave, feel free to. I just wanted to get your the social media links out of the way.
All right, peoples. Y'all have a good one.
All
Take
right,
care,
Myron.
Myron.
See you,
Stay
buddy.
great.
Peace out.
Easy reading it.
Take care, you guys. Bob.
I don't want to keep petting you. Go away.
but ma'am.
Fine.
As my rule, you get a cat, dog, or child within 25 feet of the microphone, there will be an interruption.
Oh no,
Oh, yep.
my old black cat Veda. Anytime I would edit content, anyway, we're not talking about that. Bob, what
No.
non-Marvel
or DC comic has been adapted, and do you prefer the adaptation or the comic?
Well, outside of Marvel and DC, I've read very little comics, and what I have read has not really been adapted. So I've taken a peek inside one comic, and the one that I really like the most in an adaptation. Although I like the animated adaptation best, is The Tick.
Oh yeah,
I knew
that's
somebody would
it.
say that.
Oh man, I mean the animated version I remember watching as a kid. I remember the very,
Okay.
very, 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 very short-lived a live action TV series with Patrick Warburton.
Whose performance was beautiful. The other 4 regulars were above average.
Batman
especially-
was all right.
Yeah, Batman. Well, Batmanuel was all right. Liz Vassy as Captain Liberty, but did a pretty good job. She later went on to become a regular on the CSI, the original CSI. And then, of course, there was the most. Then there was the more recent one on Amazon, starring a guy whose last name I cannot pronounce.
Sarah Fenowitz.
I am not going to try.
No.
So I'll just point at the camera anytime I want to say his name, and you can do it.
Exactly.
But the out of the 4, out of the peaks I've had inside the Tick comics, the 2 live action and the animated, I really prefer the animated as probably evidenced by the fact that I cosplayed the evil Midnight Bummer, What Bombs at Midnight.
Really, and if anyone has not seen that, I highly recommend checking out Bob's Facebook or Instagram. It's a really well done cosplay.
Yeah, it's
Well,
and Maurice
the
LaMarche
intro
did
song alone to that animated series, Bob, was worth it. You know,
What,
with
say
the
again?
alarms. I was gonna say the intro theme song alone to the animated series was worth it. You know, when the alarm starts and they hear that dee dee ba da tweet ow bow. You know,
Yeah.
you just, dude, come
The
on.
story behind that is that the guy who composed it was kind of just demonstrating what the melody was like to the people in charge.
I didn't know that. That's great.
And he was just saying, this is what it's going to sound like. And
reminds me of the theme
track.
That is how you should do it.
Reminds me of the theme
that's great.
to reminds me of the theme to Freakazoid.
Yeah. So anyway, So I put my. No, I'm sorry, but I put the wrong picture in.
I did not know that was the scratch track and got used as the theme, because it was always just.
It wasn't the scratch
so
track.
distinct.
He was doing it face to face.
Oh, okay.
Demonstrating it face to face. I said,
Captain
this is what I'm doing. I'm arranging it now. I said, no, you do it like that. That's the way you do it.
If anyone looks at the picture, Bob said it's not the one.
It's not right. It's the wrong one.
But it's one of my other favorites that he's done, Captain Klutz.
Oh, that's
which
fantastic.
I would love to see a live action version of it done.
Oh,
I couldn't play
typical.
him obviously because I'm way too old.
Anyone want to hire Bob to be Captain Klutz?
I'll do it for special appearances, as long as you pay for transportation. But let's see. Oh, if I
So what did you think of the Amazon
I'm going to
series?
post
though?
up the Evil Midnight Bomber just a little bit, but really, and then the Amazon, adaptation, the Amazon series, is a pretty close second as far as the adaptation. The
I was
little
just
bit
glad
that I
when
got
they
to
changed
see
to-
of the comic was really kind of
Oh
slow,
yeah,
but it was like issue one.
here's the live action. This is the second Tick adaptation. The one that Patrick Warburton was doing was more.
No,
based
that's
off
not.
the
That's the
animated-
one he was not doing.
Oh yeah.
That's the one with Peter.
Sarah Fenowitz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, but the one with Patrick Warburton was more based off the animated series. But yeah, that's
Okay,
his
and there's my
Klutz.
Evil Midnight Bomber. What Bombs at Midnight?
Nice.
Well, and
Um,
his suit in the Patrick Warburton was actually more accurate to the comic than
Oh,
what
yeah.
the Amazon was.
But I
when they
love
changed.
I love the bag that Bob's holding.
Yeah, that's I used the yellow gaffer's tape to do it. And I probably should have. I'm going to try and redo that with yellow.
taken
felt.
by the channel's fan favorite photographer, Triple Kick Photography.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, I did that I did that costume for and met Maurice LaMarche at last year's Emerald City Comic Con. He was really
Nice.
impressed too. In fact, what's his name again? Townsend Coleman came over while I was talking with and started quoting from the episode.
Oh, nice.
So, but yeah, that's how I would put that. Is I would love to see a Tick series come around that actually lasts for a while.
Yeah, because both the Patrick Warburton and the one did not last long.
No,
Yeah,
just
Patrick's was 1 season, and the Peter
Sarah Fenowitz.
was 2 seasons.
Wow, just 1 season longer than the original.
That's
Yeah,
start
so-
small.
And the-
That's
and
the-
actually
and
way
the-
to start
and the
small.
The animated series was 3 seasons.
Yeah, I was about
which-
to say, I kind of find it funny. 1 season, 2 season, 3 season.
Yeah.
So what? The next one is gonna be 4 seasons. It just
we
goes
can
up a
hope that
season
it
each.
just goes longer, but
It just goes up a season each
the cha-
adaptation.
kind of the story on what hurt the Patrick Warburton series is that, with the exception of the Tick, Arthur, and the Terror, every character on the animated series was owned by the production company, who was then picked up by
No.
Fox.
Oh, that's right, because the Tick was originally on Fox Kids back in the 90s. God,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
age is fucking showing.
And Flaming Carrot Comics had owned everything else, so it was a huge rights
It was
issue.
really hard. Now
So,
on
yeah.
to now on to characters we would like to see adapted, whether it's manga, comics. Kitty, what comic book character or comic series would you like to see adapted to a live action movie or TV show?
Well, since we're starting to include manga now, I'm a big manga nerd. Something I do not know if it could possibly be done well. I just want to see them try. There's this manga called Jinmen, and it is about.
Wait,
it's supposed
what's
to
it?
be
What's it called?
called Jinmen, so Jinmen.
I'm
I
looking
might
at-
be
I'm
saying
look-
it wrong.
I'm looking
It's-
at it right
it's-
now.
Supposed to be horror. It kind of gives off more shonen vibes, but it's about a
Why
world
does it
where
look- why
all
does it-
animals have human faces.
Why does it look
Um,
like Junji Ito was part of it?
He was not a part of it, but I am a
Oh!
big Junji Ito
Oh!
fan, so I
Oh,
kind
the
of
anime.
I don't think that's tied.
Oh. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, wait.
That might be a character in it at some point,
Oh,
but that at least does not
oh,
look
oh.
like what I am looking
Oh,
for.
I've heard of this.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
That
yeah,
looks cool.
I won't be sleeping
there's-
tonight.
there's something
Look at
that
it.
happens.
Look at
that
it.
makes-
Look at it.
Yeah, it makes all the animals have human faces, and they start kind of a Animal Farm-esque uprising towards Japan.
Oh God.
And
it sounds
it's
quite- It's
It
very
sounds like that-
graphic, so
it sounds like that,
everybody be warned.
it sounds like that 1950s Disney film Animal Farm.
Well, that's just Orwell, but yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm
I
looking
mean,
at it. I think it could be done depending on who, not Netflix. Just saying they butcher a lot of their live adaptation stuff. But I could see it. I mean, it'd be a lot of CGI, but I could definitely see it if they keep it. If they keep it like keep the look like the setting in Japan. I could definitely see it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would be happy whether it's live action or anime or something. I just want more of this wild, crazy series. I've actually been letting it like chapters come out because I caught up too far and I went crazy. And so I've had to let chapters get out so I can binge read it all again.
I can definitely see it.
Consuming problem. Yeah, so I don't care how it gets adapted, but there was another like online. I read it on Webtoon. It was called Sweet Home.
I've heard of that.
It got adapted into a live action Netflix show.
Mhm.
So, and there are of course issues with it, but I think once again they did kind of the best they could. And if maybe they did a similar thing to maybe what they did in that, it could maybe be successful. But there's a lot of speculation. It could be awful. I could be setting them up for destruction, but I want to know for my own curiosity.
Yeah, well,
It
yeah, you could be
looks-
setting them up for another Death Note. So
Oh my
Absolutely.
god. No, we don't talk about that, okay? That's, we don't
Get
talk
the
about
fuck
that.
out of here.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Oh,
Go sit in the
that,
corner,
but-
Brian. But
Yeah.
here is
banished.
We were all
you
thinking
are.
it.
I can't I can't show any pictures from the manga the pages of the manga itself. I can get
Oh dang.
Oh no. I was just
I'll
like
have to look that one
I'm
up.
like yeah,
There's a
it's
lot.
called
She did warn us. She did give a warning.
That's why I just showed the cover, but like I showed you one of the ones that look not as bad. There's one of the elephants with the
Chinchi.
Yes. He needs to
Elephant
be
is
like,
one of the most
Wait, is that a-
prominent
wait,
characters.
Wait, was
It's a
that a
Chinchi.
was that a chinchilla I just saw run past by?
yes, the little
Could you
troublemaker.
show us?
You have a
Oh.
chinchilla?
What's their name?
Beautiful.
What's her name?
His name is Osito. Osito
Oh.
Cabrón número dos.
Oh,
No, I don't. He reminds me of
That's fantastic.
he reminds me of my mom's chinchilla. We called him Little D. I called him I used the D part Little Daredevil because he used to escape out of his cage a lot.
That's what this one do. Like at 3 a.m. Like I find him like, what are you doing?
Like, hey mom.
That's so cool that you
I'm
have
here.
a chinchilla.
¿Qué es el número uno?
No,
Uh,
that never happened because like all the Mexican restaurants I see is like number 2 or number 3. I'm like, okay, yeah, that fits.
So you just went with 2. Okay, so you didn't there wasn't a numero uno. Okay.
No, I thought
I-
it's catchy though.
I think so. I guess I'll go a character, or I would like to see, and I've said it many times, and I feel like DC could do it if they do it right and find the right actress. Zatanna.
Ooh, yes.
I can
Sheriff
either see
Swan.
I can see either Zatanna or Joker's new favorite
Punchline?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I've read about Punchline. She was a student at Gotham University who was doing a piece on the Joker, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and she was studying like toxins and poisons and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she
basically
used
Harley-
that
she's-
knowledge for evil.
Yeah.
She's Harley Quinn 2.0. I feel like, again, find the right actress to play her either in a TV. I feel like Punchline, if she's going to be adapted, whether it be animated or live action, TV show first. She hasn't got there to be up Harley Quinn's level where Harley Quinn has been shown in, well, aside from the name, Harley Quinn is like, I feel like Harley Quinn has deserved her right to be up there in the live action TV shows and movies. Punchline needs to work her way up there, and I'm sure Kitty will agree on that. Maybe.
I think it depends on how she's introduced. However she's introduced, I hope that she's introduced in a non-Punchline specific property first, whether that's some sort of Joker story or a Batman story or something like that, because I
That's
think
fair.
she's a character that does better with an introduction because
Oh.
I don't know, I felt like her story was a little bit slow burn at first, you know? But I don't
Well,
know. I'm
but
down
without-
to see anything.
But without trying to make it a catch lightning in a bottle twice kind of thing and make
Mhm.
another Harley, right? So she's got to have her own
It'll be-
agency again and stuff too.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a thin line at
Well,
this point to
I'm not-
walk.
I'm
And
not-
there's a lot of fans that are always like, oh, well, Punchline is what Harley was supposed to be before she was ruined. But I think that's kind of a silly mentality. I
Yeah.
also can't help but wonder how much you know Harley, if that's what your opinion
And that's
is.
why I was asking
And-
that because that's
yeah.
that's a tough call to make from a writer standpoint and this and that, and then you're gonna piss off fans or they're gonna misunderstand. So it would have to be done very specifically to not
Yeah.
have that. Oh, well, that's just a lesser Harley. If I want to watch that, I'll just go watch
I
it. You know,
think
yeah.
no matter
yeah.
what, unfortunately,
It's
because
gonna
of
happen.
her role as Joker's girlfriend, they're
It's
gonna
gonna
be
happen.
always gonna be compared. There's always gonna be somebody who says this is what Harley was supposed to be. Why do you make a whole new character? There's
Yeah.
just always gonna be a hater.
Yeah,
No, no,
no, that's
I've
true.
I've seen the hate with Punchline, but I have seen a few Punchline cosplays before too, and they're really well done.
Cosplay friends does her. Yeah, Meepy Sheepy. She does a really badass Punchline.
I think that's
I'm kind of curious to see that.
yeah, like it's one of those. But Zatanna, I'd have to say, I feel like Zatanna, she's first adaptation was the animated series. Oh, was it the animated series? The animated
I don't
series,
think she was
Justice
ever
League.
on the Super Friends or anything like that, unless I'm
no.
wrong.
But I feel like Zatanna should deserve, even if it's like a TV show or something. I feel like Zatanna's definitely earned her. She's been in animated shows. She was in a Justice League video game.
Yeah.
She was in the Lego Batman games. She was in
2
Young
episodes
Justice.
of Smallville.
Oh, that's right.
She
I
was
keep
in
on,
Smallville.
I keep on forgetting. I keep on
That's
forgetting
right.
that.
That's right.
Mind
They're in
you,
the
I didn't.
swamp.
Smallville had a lot of characters, man.
Yeah.
Ah,
So
Yeah,
you
they
already
started
got your
running out of
wish.
things to do with Clark, so they introduced all
okay,
the rest
but
of the
she was
DC
more of a side character. She was more of a.
Yeah, she was
a-
only
a-
2 episodes.
She was
I
a,
thought that
she
the-
was she
that
was
the-
a she was a returning NPC character.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
the,
that's yeah. Go ahead.
the-
sorry.
I thought that the storyline would have made a great series though that they had for her in the second
Oh, I'm
appearance.
sure they were going to do it, but
Yeah.
Smallville set a lot of standards for any future DC TV show back then.
Yeah.
Elsa, who would you like to see adapted manga or comic into a live action TV show or movie?
Oh, that's actually a really tough one.
It
Yeah.
is.
I mean, especially with live action anime stuff not always being the greatest.
What are you talking about? It works perfectly all the time. Every of the time.
There is
I mean,
another one that I
Black-
didn't think about until I suggested Jinmin
Black-
that would do really well as a live action.
Oh, what? I need to come back to this.
Yeah.
Helsing. If anybody's
Ooh.
seen
Yes!
Hellsing, that's one of my
Yes.
top favorite. I have some of the
Ah.
deluxe manga that come in the leatherbound books. Um,
Ooh, I wouldn't even
uh,
think about that. And Helsing would be
Maria is my
really
best
good.
girl. Yeah. No, but like think about it. You could adapt it in a similar like kind of edgy style as the early like Hellboy and Constantine movies. You know, they have that
Okay.
like kind of gritty aesthetic. Imagine
Yeah.
Just
I can
don't
see it in
let
my head.
just don't let Netflix touch it because they already neutered
Yeah.
Cowboy.
Well, they
already
almost did.
I remember about that, but
Yeah. There was
my
talks for a while. Yeah.
my gripe with that it's just how Netflix neutered and pissed all over Cowboy Bebop.
I have mixed feelings on Cowboy Bebop. Let me.
Hey,
Ditto.
I have
Yeah.
so not the original, the Netflix one. The original Spike Spiegel is my unofficial husband.
Shout out to
Don't get me started.
shout out to oh god, what's the voice actor's name for Spike Spiegel? Steve Bloom. He does
I am a little bit of a watching Japanese person, but
my gripe before we continue, my gripe with the live action Cowboy Bebop. Spike Spiegel is in his 20s. They casted an actor who's damn near 50.
but I mean, we do this all the time in TV, like in Greece.
Yeah.
Like I
So
was okay
appreciate-
with
Don
with the
Chuck.
actors. I was okay with the actors who played as Faye, but I loved the actor who played as Jet Black in the live action.
Yeah.
I was-
Mustafa
I think-
Shakir.
Yeah, I was
Mhm.
I was not happy with who they casted as Radical Ed. They basically they appeared in the last episode and it looked like a character from fucking Spy Kids.
Yeah.
I feel like the issue with Radical Ed wasn't necessarily the actor because we
Mm-mm.
didn't see enough to be able to say on their performance at all, or at least that's how I feel. They were
Oh,
in
no,
there
like-
for like 5
Oh
seconds.
no. Oh no,
The
like
costuming was god awful though. They
Oh,
did
no,
that
again-
actor dirty.
no, they, like the actor who they like the kid was like 13 or something and they were wearing Crocs, which no big deal, but like I feel like they rushed Ed's character and just the way they made Ed look.
The wig was
the-
awful.
The wig was awful, and again, it looks like a character from fucking Spy Kids. But like the actor who played as him, they, them, not a. I'm glad they casted. Like I think the actor was like 13 or something, the same age as Ed was in the anime. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I can't wait for the drug episode. I wish that Netflix's Cowboy Bebop kept going, if only for the mushroom episode to see like Ein dancing around.
Oh yes. Okay, I am also happy that they kept. I'm also happy they kept Ein as a corgi.
Oh,
in-
well, you.
Yeah.
Cry would it be if you didn't have Ein be a corgi?
Correct.
Elsa, have
Did you think
figured?
of one?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually have. I really want to see Attack on Titans. Because I really like
Ooh.
special effects. What they do with the
I
Titans.
think
You
I
didn't
think
see
that-
the live action
have
already?
to.
It's
Yeah,
god
there's
awful.
they made one.
They
in
need to make a
Germany.
better one.
It's terrible.
The same
Yes,
thing
they-
like Full Alchemist. Oh my.
Okay,
Yeah,
the
so
Full
I'm-
okay,
Okay,
don't diss on the
Change
Full
it,
Metal Alchemist. The Full Metal
No,
Alchemist.
but I'm with Elsa. I would like to
Live
see
action,
a
no.
good live
Yeah.
action.
one, yes. It was better casting and everything. Definitely, I would love to see that.
Yeah,
or
because the
another
one
one that came up to my mind is gotta be why does it blank right now?
What's the premise?
My brain hurts.
No.
yeah,
So-
because that live action
Oh,
AOT
geez,
is
help me think
just
of
It was on
Terrible.
Netflix, I believe.
No, Netflix! Stop touching all the good ones.
It
I'm
was
actually excited to see the one
bad.
this one. It looks really promising. But Osito, give me something.
Yeah.
No,
You're
so
valid, don't worry.
I actually want okay, another anime, but it's like probably gonna have the bad fandom again. It's probably gotta be either Hitalia or Danganronpa.
But yep,
Ooh.
the fandom would be. ugh.
Seeing a live action Junko, that's you gotta.
I'm not
Oh.
sure if I know what those ones are.
I don't think
It's
so.
a
I don't
murder.
know. Oh, nice.
But yeah, like think about it. Especially I do know there was a stage play about it.
Oh yeah, the stage plays always do well.
Yes.
I mean,
Attack on
No, I
Titan
mean,
stage
not-
play too,
not-
wasn't there?
yes, there was. There's also a Naruto one and a Black Butler one, which also got adapted into a live action movie, which wasn't
Which
bad.
was odd.
it
There's
was
some-
horrible.
Yeah, it was
I love the
definitely.
spectrum of feelings.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It was okay. Horrible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can I also say real quick with Kitty's Harley Quinn makeup with all the facial expressions she's making, it definitely gives off Harley Quinn vibes.
Oh,
And
it's
I'm-
great.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Agree with
for
this.
it.
You have Supergirl and
Talking
Harley
about
Quinn right
pudding.
here on this podcast.
And you also got Batman.
But
Batman.
since we're talking about quick off topic because we're on the Black Butler musical, I'm actually making
Mhm.
a wig based off of commission. Shut up, low battery. I probably will have to leave soon, but like quick of that, from the musical, I'm actually making one of the wigs. My friend helped a bit. It's Eric's, so I'm adding his braids.
Oh,
Oh, that's
nice.
awesome.
So I know
That's
you have to go here. I
beautiful.
know you have to go here real quick, Elsa. But would you like to let people know where they can find you on social media before you have to go?
Yeah, you can find me on TikTok, Ultimate Phantom, as well as Instagram. But except with Instagram, you have the Osito. He's trying to.
He knocked the camera down.
You know what? It's fine.
The
You can
Chinchy
keep
needs
it.
attention. He
And I thought,
demands it.
and I thought,
That was my time.
and I thought,
Oh,
Freya,
it's
and
so
I thought,
cute.
and I thought Freya seeking attention was bad.
No, Freya's still worse. So you can find me on Instagram with Ultimate Phantom again, but just have underscores on top and bottom at the end and beginning. What have you done to me today? But yeah, so you can find me there, or you can just find me on any other Wayne's podcast that I've been on. If you know, this is normal now. My brain hurts and it wants to go to bed, right?
Okay, well, Elsa, so we're gonna actually wrap this up. We're gonna have Sam,
okay.
Brian, and Bob talk about who they like to see, and then after this, we will probably end this because we're going on 3 hours, the longest so far.
Well, it's a lot of people,
Alright.
dude.
But
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
skedaddle before my battery dies, and it just has like the awkward hanging.
Okay, all right.
Osito, do you
Again,
want to say
Elsa,
bye?
Good seeing you again, Elsa.
All right, good seeing you guys.
Bye,
Wonderful.
Chinchy.
Bye.
So
Bye.
cute.
Yeah,
Little chinchilla.
we're gonna wrap this up real quick because this is like going on for 3 hours and it's gonna take a lot of editing. This is
Good
actually
luck.
I may actually split this one into 2 parts officially.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Have to
Depending on how
do,
much
like,
I
a
ramble, you might
2P
go to 3.
continue.
So what I'm gonna probably do is when I stopped it the first time, that will be the first part, and then when I continue, when I
Oh,
re-record-
yeah. They're probably about right in half. Yeah.
yeah, all right. Sam, who would you like to see brought from the comics to live action series or movie?
Oh man, I had one in mind and then I lost it.
Oh no.
Sammy,
where'd it go?
no.
I took a
Bring it back
screenshot
to
of
life.
it so I wouldn't forget it, and I forgot it.
She forgot it.
Forgetty spaghetti. It's okay, homie.
Where'd it go?
I must
Oh,
have when I was helping Brandon, I must have had Forgeticus cast on you. What happened?
Well,
You
well,
happen. That's who.
While Sam is looking, I'll go to Brian. Who would you like to see adapted, whether from graphic novel, comic book character, live action, TV show, or movie?
Akira.
Yes.
Who dat?
I'm still kind of bummed that Taika Waititi never got to fulfill his vision on that.
Yeah. I
Right.
with
And he
What's-
he did his research extensively for Akira.
Yeah.
He's a big fan. Yeah.
Yep. with what's possible today, practically and CGI.
They made it work with Ghost in the Shell and Alita Battle
the,
Angel.
the what?
They made it work with Alita Battle Angel.
Well, okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that edit there.
Yeah. Yeah, for the most part. So it is possible. Alita, for what it was fine. I had no problem with it.
And with the special effects we got to see in oh god, what was it? They made a sequel of it and it had Harrison Ford in it. Blade Runner 2048.
Oh.
49. Yeah. It's
2049. Like
so it is possible.
It's doable.
And I would be perfectly fine with it being an entirely Japanese production. I would be just
Mhm.
fine if South Korea got a hold of it because they make some stellar stuff. I don't really care who does it.
Oh,
It doesn't need to be whitewashed. It doesn't. No, I mean as far as country of origin.
I mean, South Korea did okay when they made their live action adaptation of Dragon Ball in '91.
Yeah, I'm just talking with like The Wailing or The Host or Monstrum. Some of the I've been the people that did Train to Busan. I've been really pleasantly surprised the past few years.
Such a good
Yeah.
movie, and there's also a prequel.
Yeah,
of Train to
Peninsula.
Busan. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
and it's an anime.
Well, there's also the live action.
yeah.
There's the actual sequel. But anyway, what I'm saying is country of origin wouldn't really matter as much to me as long as it's done well. I don't really care at this point. I would just like to see a live action version of it.
I don't know if an American version would.
I don't know. But that's one that's been on the list for a long
But
time.
Taika
especially after that.
Waititi, I could definitely and he would
Sure.
cast the right people too. Like he
Think
does
so.
not cast, and of course Taika Waititi would make a cameo in it because he likes to appear in
Fine.
his movies.
I would be perfectly okay with that.
I would see Taika Waititi as that cult leader in the movie, the guy who's like that congregation that's appraising Kira and they all get killed.
Yeah.
Shortly after, like
who has a much bigger role in the manga series, by the way.
oh yeah, but I could see Taika
huge.
Waititi. I could see Taika Waititi played as that.
And
that
that's the other
cult
thing
leader
too.
guy.
You do it either from the movie or from the manga series, or combine the two more than what the movie did, because this came out before the series was ended. I'm fine. I would like to see that. That's one of my it's one of the top ones for as old as it is and as well done as even that anime.
I have a feeling you're not alone there.
Yeah. Oh no,
I
I know
remember-
I'm not. It's
remember-
just
I
that
remember
nobody's ever been able to
watching-
get enough money to make it
I
happen.
remember watching.
You know?
I remember watching Akira on DVD when a buddy of mine and his fiance were doing a nerdy board game video game night, and they were playing Akira towards the end, and I was like, I like.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Mind you, I was hot. Mind you, I was like, I was a bit buzzed when I was watching it because they had alcohol, and I was a little high, but it was still a good movie.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, that one's been around for so long, and there hasn't been a serious attempt that I would just like to see if the right people
And
could do it.
the animation's really well done for
Yeah.
the time it came out in. Like
Still
it's
holds up.
Peak late 80s anime.
Yeah, it still holds up. Katsuhiro
Sam-
Otomo was fantastic.
Oh yeah, Sam, have you found one yet?
No, I'm so tired. My brain is not.
same.
Well, all right, Sam. Well, I know
Hey
you're the-
man, it's
I
been a long day. Okay.
Yeah.
well, all right, Sam. I'm gonna have you.
I can't think of anyone.
All right.
That's
Put
okay,
out
honey.
two, so she
It's
can have
okay.
one of mine.
All right, Bob. Real quick, who would you like to see adapted from a comic to live action
Okay.
TV show or series?
I have a
movie.
toss up among three. One is the aforementioned Exiles. And this definitely would have to include Jamie Chung and Anya Taylor-Joy in the cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did pretty decent in that one Marvel
New
movie.
Mutants.
So that took forever to come out.
Yeah.
Last
New
Night in
Mutants,
Soho, The
yeah.
Witch.
Anya Taylor-Joy's also in like almost every Robert Eggers
But-
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jamie,
For a
playing the
reason.
same characters as before, Jamie Chung and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Mm.
And then the second one is the aforementioned Captain Klutz,
Mhm.
which we could get Taika to direct that one. And the title role,
He
probably
did a good.
somebody like Julian Hilliard.
He did a good job on that one Netflix show he did. Our Flag Means Death.
Julian?
Oh, I've yet to see that, but I've seen a couple of screen caps that look so funny.
Oh yeah,
Julian Hilliard. You're talking
Yeah.
about?
I think so.
Julian Hilliard was Billy Maximoff on WandaVision, and
sounds- yeah.
also was in the Haunting of Hill House and The Color. I think it's called The Color from Space. Anyway, the third one is an anime, which I would just like to see it just for the costumes, how they handled the costumes. Seven Deadly Sins.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Um,
seeing. Props whoever will be wearing the Foxen of Greed's outfit. That's all
well, props to whoever's going to be wearing Merlin's outfit.
Oh yeah, if
but,
you know, you know.
I'm a little bit more interested in seeing Lady Dion. She's one of my favorite characters in anime.
Deanne,
The giantess.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that'd be tricky to again, right studio, not Netflix. I'm sorry, but Netflix has left a bad taste in my mouth with live action adaptations based off of animes. I'm sorry, not sorry.
No, you get the right people, the right effects house, right story behind it, whether
Right
it's practical
costumer.
or CGI. Yeah, it would work. That'd be interesting. The thing is though too with a lot of the animes and mangas, it's so hard to do a literal lift page to
Mhm.
screen. That
Mhm.
it's
Oh,
usually
this would be
better.
impossible.
I mean,
to do
and
that.
Yeah, you're better
Segment
off
outfit.
just an interpretation and knowing going into that's
Oh,
what
no,
you're going to
they
be doing would
did,
probably make that much better.
They did it with the live action. It wasn't even based off. It was based off the anime and loosely the manga. They made it a live action Ouran High School Host Club movie in Japan.
Oh God, that was.
Oh no.
I
No,
will never get over Shrinking Honey. Just that.
Kitty knows the movie I'm talking about. You can watch the full version on YouTube. The movie
Oh.
the movie starts off with them on a pirate. The movie starts off with them on a pirate ship. Kitty knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, we've been at this recording for 3 hours. Part 1 will come out this Friday. Part 2, I mean, by the time this out, it will be Friday. Part 2 will come out sometime next month after some other geeking out shit. Real quick here, Sam, you know what I'm going to ask? Would you like to promote yourself by letting people know where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, so I have a Facebook for my cosplay page. It's called Grayson Cosplay Studios, and then my Instagram is @SavingGrayson.
Links in the description will be below. Kitty, would you like to let people know where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, of course. I'm the Wild Meow Meow. Pretty much anywhere where you can find me makes it pretty easy. If I'm not Wild Meow Meow, I'm Kitty Quinn. I like to stream on Twitch. I like to post on Instagram, and those are probably the main places you'll actually see me. Not.
And you also have your art Instagram too, right?
Oh, thank you for mentioning it. I do have my art Instagram. That's Kitty Q's Wonderland. I draw mushrooms and nerdy stuff and whatever my heart desires.
Oh, Wild Meow Meow. That's such a great name.
I love that
Oh,
name.
thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad.
It fits. Bob,
Aw,
where
I'm
can
so glad.
people where can people find you on social media so they can follow you?
On Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter, it is Bob Greenwade.
AKA one-eyed cosplay?
One-eyed cosplay. Yeah.
Okay. For a while I always call it the one-eyed cosplayer. Brian, where can people find you on social media?
You can't because I'm hiding. No,
Worst guys
I
ever.
yeah. So I still have my Facebook page of Nightingale Studios is spelled with a K, like Knigget, and then at Luna Stardust on the Exchangeogram. But I'm not as active on there as I used to be. But if you need to get a hold of me, not a problem.
And also
Questions,
real quick,
concerns, all that good stuff.
I just now realized the green ooze on your Ghostbusters hat.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's fine. Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
you all know where you can find me on. You know where you're
Everywhere.
You can find me. You can now find my When the Unknown on Facebook now. Just be sure to look for the stick figure with the PlayStation controller for a head holding a Dragon Ball and blue lightsaber. Twitter, you can follow me on Discord. YouTube, TikTok, which I really don't post a whole lot, and eventually I will be bringing back Cosplay Con Talk to Spotify.
Nice.
So you can find me all on there. And and later down the road, you may see Kitty Quinn on Cosplay Con Talk for a cosplayer interview.
Yay!
Oh, how cool! That'll be fun. I did enjoy that a lot.
So anyway, as always, I'm Wayne the Unknown. Until next time, thank you for listening, and as always, thank you for watching.
Bye.